Hey everyone, Colton here. Just wanted to warn you that we had some technical issues while recording this episode on Wonder Woman 1984. Andrew's audio was unfortunately not captured through his usual microphone, which is to say that if it sounds like he's speaking through a tin can, that is not an issue on your end. We've tried to clean up the audio as best we can, but it is going to sound a lot rougher than it usually does. Fortunately, we didn't realize the error until after we'd already sat down for almost 3 hours with special guest Anna Mattis and recorded the whole episode. Fortunately, the audio for Anna and myself was good enough overall that we felt our best option was to just clean up the episode as much as we could and hope our listeners understand that these mistakes kind of happen, and unfortunately, we're kind of just making the best of a bad situation. We are really sorry that this isn't up to our usual standard, but nonetheless, we hope you're still able to enjoy our coverage of Wonder Woman 1984. Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows.
We're here. We made it through 2020, and we are in a new year.
A new year, officially. Yes, 2020 is in the rearview mirror, and couldn't have happened sooner. What a miserable fucking year. Good riddance, I say.
It was a doozy.
You know, we will probably commiserate about what we lost in 2020, purely in film and television terms, not to speak of the other things that obviously we lost in 2020, you know, like 300,000 human lives, that sort of thing. Probably in a few weeks' time, we'll do a year in review, probably a little bit of a different year in review than maybe what our listeners are accustomed to, given how 2020 was just such a shit show. But yeah, 2021 is here. That's the good news. And so we say to our listeners, Happy New Year officially. Technically, this is the second episode that will have gone up after the new year has begun. But it's the first episode that we've recorded since Christmas has happened. It's the first episode we've recorded since the new year has begun. So it's very exciting times here at Watch, Review, Repeat. We're turning over a new page and hoping that 2021 brings a little bit more prosperity than certainly the previous year did.
Absolutely.
Not that that's a hard bar to clear, but, here we are. So, yeah, we're here to talk about Wonder Woman 1984, a film that once upon a time was going to be in theaters, say 6 months ago, something like that, and then and ended up getting relegated to the HBO Max on Christmas Day, alongside a theatrical debut for those that were brave enough to step foot into such a building. It was a kind of nice Christmas present, I guess, in a way, for the fine folks over at WB to say, hey, here's this summer blockbuster to enjoy on your televisions, and I was going to say your small screens, but I was in Florida for a couple weeks, and I saw Andrew's screen, and let me put it this way: it is not small. He's got pretty much a theater set up at home right now. I know he's tinkering with his speakers, and the subs got some updates on the way or something like that. But it's impressive.
Working on it.
So
work in progress.
So anyway, it's been a couple of weeks since we talked about The Mandalorian for entirely too long. So long that we had to split the episode into two because I very vigilantly defended the fact that we should release it as a 4.5-hour episode while we were recording the episode. I ended up cutting that little monologue for the final release of those episodes because I did end up splitting it. But anyway, we were having fun. We probably had a few too many drinks, but The Mandalorian was just something really special, and there was just so much awesome shit to unpack in that I think it was a justified 4.5-hour extravaganza. Plus, the Disney Investor Day brought us a lot of announcements. So anyway, we're here, I guess, talking about Wonder Woman, admittedly about a week late. As I mentioned, I was down in Florida. I even happened to run into one Andrew Meadows in the flesh.
That's right.
And we were set to record this very episode here in the same room, something we haven't done in, I think, literally a year. And and an XLR cable went missing, and we couldn't find anything in stock nearby, so it just was not meant to be. So here we are. I'm back in Philadelphia after a little 2-week stay in Florida, which I'll talk about later when we do some catching up. But we'll be just fine. You know, this is business as usual. We're used to recording remotely. That's nothing new for us. So it is what it is. I do want to flag something very, very important. We will be joined by a very special guest for our coverage of Wonder Woman 1984. The one and only Anna Mattis will be joining us for our coverage of the film, but she's elected to wait to get her thoughts on the record until we start talking about Wonder Woman 1984. Because we do have some news. We have some other things to talk about, of course. So we look forward to her making an appearance in just a little bit of time. So I guess, you know, just to any other things, just to catch up and get everything up to speed, since it's, I guess, technically been a couple weeks or so since we've recorded. Hope everyone had a lovely Christmas. I think we wished everyone a Merry Christmas for on I guess probably the first Mandalorian episode that we did. And I hope everyone had a nice New Year, and I hope that all the New Year resolutions come to pass. And you know, if that's as simple as I hope I get a vaccine soon, then we're with you. We're with you right there.
Right.
I think we're all feeling that way. Well, maybe not enough people, but we don't need to get into that right now, I suppose. You know, I didn't even prompt you. I'm frazzled. I just drove between the past 2 days about 17 hours, and so I'm just putting down some beers. I'm enjoying life in Philadelphia once again. And I forgot to ask if you had a fun fact prepared for this episode. So
I do not. Yeah,
I had one in reserve for when we were going to record last time. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of reserve and talk about it here. So this is a little bit off the cuff. I don't have any information in front of me, so I'm going to hopefully not fuck up the details too much. But you may know that Justin Timberlake makes an appearance. Oh no, I'm sorry. Pedro Pascal makes an appearance in this film, Wonder Woman 1984. That is, Pedro Pascal plays the villain in it, or a villain in it, named Max Lord. But what you don't know, or maybe you do, I don't want to be too presumptuous, but what you don't know is that Pedro Pascal is no stranger to appearing in Wonder Woman-related products.
Really?
In fact, there was a unaired pilot made, I don't know how long ago it was, probably about a decade ago, roughly, by, I think, David E. Kelly, who, I think that's his name. Again, I'm not looking at anything, so I'm sorry for butchering anything at this point. I think he maybe did Boston Legal and some other kind of just normal networky shows, something like that. But he made this pilot for a Wonder Woman show with Adrienne Palicki, who went on to play Mockingbird and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And she's a main character on the Orville now. She was cast as Wonder Woman. And in that pilot, Pedro Pascal was also present. He played a character in that pilot. I don't actually recall what he played. I think it was a very minor bit role that he kind of just popped up in the episode at one point. But he's talked about it, I think, on the press junket for 1984, basically saying that, you know, he was bummed out when it didn't get picked up, when the show didn't get picked up, because, like, you know, he needed a job. Like, that was a job, that was money, that was like employment for him. You know, this is pre Game of Thrones, this is, you know, pre-Narcos, this is pre-anything, you know, Pedro the Mandalorian, obviously. You know, this is pre-anything.
Is he Narcos?
I think maybe Narcos, one of the spinoffs, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe in the later seasons of the original Narcos. I haven't seen it either, so
he played in a I'm
really just flying blind here right now. So
recently, I can't remember the name of it. I really want to watch it. I don't even know what it's really about. I just saw his name pop up in it, and he's got like this like classic spacesuit bubble helmet.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
sounds vaguely familiar. I don't know what that is either. But I dare not speculate even more beyond the speculating that I'm already doing at present. So anyway, he was in that unaired pilot, and then, you know, things come full circle. You know, a decade later or however long it's been, and you know, he's crushing it. Obviously, he's doing quite well for himself these days. Probably not struggling to find employment. And he ends up in Wonder Woman 1984 playing one of the big bads. and chewing some scenery just to tee up our discussion for later. So for Pedro Pascal, he was thinking life could be good, but it could be better, and it got better. Certainly later in his career. So good on him for sticking it out. And I've heard that pilot's real bad, by the way. You can find it online. I think I don't even know if it's on YouTube or something. Maybe it's on Vimeo or one of those things, but I think it's available to watch. But let's just say there was a reason it not only, there's a reason it wasn't really publicly released, or that the series never got picked up. Also, the Wonder Woman suit in it's real bad. Just real bad. Just awful, actually. Just terrible. So anyway, that's my fun fact. How about that?
Nice.
Well, what do we have on tap for news? We got a few things. Sad news up front, and this almost feels like I guess an appropriate coda in a way for our exhaustive Mandalorian coverage. I think maybe even the day or right around the time that the season finale of The Mandalorian aired, the original actor that physically portrayed Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi passed away. So Jeremy Bulloch is the actor in question. He was 75 years old at the time that he died, and Boba Fett's kind of taken a life of his own with the Mandalorian, but we always thought he looked cool and always had a cool presence, even if he never really did any cool shit in the original trilogy. But Jeremy Bulloch was the man kind of responsible. He was the man behind the mask, if you will. He didn't do the voice. He never did the voice. The voice, I think, was someone else, and then redubbed by Tamara Morrison for the special editions to keep it in continuity with Jango and all that good stuff. You know how George likes to do his McClunkies and stuff. So yeah, I mean, sad news, and the timing of it was just kind of, I don't know. It's just one of those weird things that happens in terms of coincidences and stuff like that. But Disney's actually gone back and added a tribute to Jeremy Bulloch. I think at the tail end of the credits for the finale now. I think it says in memory of Jeremy Bulloch at the end. So a really nice nod for them to kind of go back and put that back in, for someone that was Boba Fett. He was Boba Fett, and I think he was pretty active on the Comic-Con scene. Obviously,
right.
When Comic-Cons were a thing that people were allowed to go to and such. And from everything I've read, people said that he was a lovely man, very affable, and someone that was just a good person to be around, and seemed to enjoy, kind of reveling and being Boba Fett, at Comic-Cons and stuff like that. And so, and who could blame him, right? So anyway, rest in peace to Jeremy Bulloch. Some sad news, unfortunately, but yeah. Any other thoughts? You ready to get into some other news?
We'll get into some other news, man. I'm tired of hearing about people passing.
It's a recurring theme. Maybe in 2021, things will be better on that front. Probably not for the early part of the year, if I had to guess. Not to be a pessimist. This next piece of news is something that I'm gonna have to be very deferential to you about, because this is kind of your area. So we got a trailer. We got an official trailer for season 3 of American Gods, television show on Starz. It's been through a bit of tumult in terms of its production. I think it's on 4 showrunners in 3 seasons. Jesus. I don't know if you remember the drama with Orlando Jones getting maybe fired from the show. It was a sort of he said situation, I guess, with him basically saying the showrunner was racist, and, he was fired for being too black, which, that's pretty fucked up if true. And obviously he's not present for this season, so someone won the power struggle there. I don't know. Anyway, there's that drama that's kind of the backdrop to all this.
Which sucks, because his character was like he played the character awesome. Nailed the character.
So I guess putting that all aside, maybe factoring that in, I don't know. You're the one with the experience in this realm. You've watched the first 2 seasons. I think you listened to the audiobook, if I'm not mistaken.
Seems like it was forever ago.
It was probably forever ago. I think even the first season probably came out 2 to 3 years ago. So
yeah, it's been a while.
What do you think of this trailer? I mean, just purely what it looks like, maybe compared to previous seasons, your knowledge of the book, that sort of thing. Like, I am totally off in the weeds in this one. I don't know what I'm looking at.
It's been so long, to be honest with you, I'm pretty lost. Okay. I can't remember where the show left off on.
We're both lost then.
I know Orlando's not going to be in it, so that sucks.
Sure.
But they did, I guess they dropped the fact that Shadow Moon is Odin's son, which is interesting. But I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess. I mean, if I do watch season 3, I would have to rewatch seasons 1 and 2. Okay. Just because I am that lost, I have no idea. Because the shows in the book really, they really did things out of order and stuff, and so they're completely different experiences. I remember season 1 being very enjoyable. I remember season 2, you could feel the difference in it because of the showrunners and stuff, and all the production problems. So I don't know. I like the IP as on its own. So we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could probably safely say I have a million other things that I'll be watching before I get around to this. It'd be one thing if there wasn't the drama behind it, and it was, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like a shit show. So if you do indeed take the plunge, obviously we'll talk about it on that front. But and it does air very soon. I think it starts in a week, January 10th.
Yeah.
So you got a week to catch. No, I guess it's probably a weekly release. So, like I said, if you do get around to it, we can revisit the subject at that point. But I did want to at least flag that the trailer was out there. Hey, the season 3 is happening and stuff like that, in case you were interested in it. So, I guess we'll wait and see in terms of how it turns out, I suppose. How do you feel about Dr. Octopus coming back?
The Dr. Octopus?
The
same one
and only Dr. Octopus that we've seen.
Wow.
In film. Alfred Molina back as Dr. Octopus for Spider-Man 3. And I don't think I mean a Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3, but I mean, it's
pretty much
it might have the feel of one at that point. Yeah. Alfred Molina is back for the third Spider-Man film, which is as of yet untitled, with Tom Holland playing Spider-Man. And this obviously comes off the heels of Jamie Foxx coming back as Electro for that. So we've now officially gotten casting news, basically very reputable casting news of 2 prior villains from separate film franchises within the Spider-Man universe that Sony's done previously, which obviously seems to point in a very specific plot direction. It feels a bit Spider-Verse-y.
Yeah, it's got to be Spider-Verse stuff. Has to be.
And if so, how does that make you feel? Being a therapist now. Spider-Man therapist.
They have not. No one involved in any Marvel Spider-Man has let me down yet. So
that's true.
Marvel Studios, and if anything, the Spider-Man content that they've put out, whether it's animated or whether it's live action, but since Marvel Studios has picked up and started doing a lot of which I don't think did they do anything with what's it called? The animated Spider-Man.
Into the Spider-Verse was totally Sony. I mean, that was
not Marvel
it totally
Studios Sony?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it was totally Sony hiring apparently the right people to do the job, which they are typically not very good at. But yeah, I mean, to their credit, they got Lord Miller to deliver the goods for them on that one for sure. So,
but yes, so I have 110% faith in Kevin Feige and his ability to put Spider-Man on the big screen. Or small screen, depending on where we watch it.
Yeah, well, I think I'm sure we have a release date for this. I think it's December of this year. Oh God, I have to say this year now. It's one of those things you go back to school and you keep writing 2020 on everything. And it's just like, damn it, cross it out, 2021. I'm going to do that for a while. I did get it right this time, but I had to think about it before I said it. I agree with you 100% in the sense that like and Kevin Feige we trust. In Marvel Studios we trust. Like, they know what they're doing. Presumably, if Sony was, if Sony had that much more clout, Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios would have walked. You know what I mean? Because there was remember that whole little snafu of being like, shit, we might not get another Spider-Man with Marvel. Well, without with Marvel Studios, I guess is probably the best way of putting that. But they resolved that. I mean, who knows what the end result of that was? Was that like, hey, if we make Spider-Man 3, like, it's got to be Spider-Verse, like, or is it Kevin Feige saying like, damn, that movie was really fucking good, Into the Spider-Verse is great, let's just do that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I don't know. It could be anything really, and maybe we'll know the full story.
And it's got Doctor Strange
eventually.
in it.
And it does have Doctor Strange in it, which certainly, for, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, like, multiverse, Spider-Verse, like, it's all very much the same and seems to be building around the same sort of concepts. So it seems like it would make sense to do a Spider-Verse. Like if that is indeed what they're doing, like, they'll probably do it properly. I think that's probably a good way of looking at it. I don't know that I want it. To me, it feels a little too soon. Like, it just, I don't know. I mean, like, Peter's identity has been outed, by Mysterio, and now it's just like, oh yeah, and we're going to bring in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and company and stuff like that, which, to be fair, none of that is official. I guess I'll say right now, I think Collider reported that I think they reported that Andrew Garfield and Kirsten Dunst are back, that Tobey is expected to be back, but they're like negotiating with him because Tobey Maguire's, too big for his britches. He commands millions of dollars and all that good stuff, I don't know. Or it just doesn't want to be fucking Spider-Man again, which, like, is fine too, obviously. Man can do what he wants, but and then they were saying maybe Emma Stone too, and I'm like, well, she's a little too dead in the universe right now, but I guess you could bring in whoever you want, but so I don't know. I mean, there's to me there's a very big risk that this is just chaos and like Spider-Man 3 again, Spider-Man 3 2 in a sort of way of too many plot elements happening, but
and it could also be just a sequence.
Could be a sequence, right? Bring in, just like Doctor Strange being like, you think you got it bad? Look at this guy. He's got fucking metal arms. Look at this guy. He's fucking blue and electric and shit. You know what I mean? Like, look at this guy. His girlfriend's dead. Like, it could be worse, dude.
Yeah, and it could be literally a 10-minute sequence, So, who knows?
Right. So that's a good point, I'm still holding out hope for Kraven the Hunter, but I just kind of think Spider-Verse plus Kraven the Hunter is probably one too many things. There's another rumor, I think, that they're maybe making a 3 and a 4 with, like, 3 setting up the Spider-Verse elements and then 4 being the Spider-Verse movie, which I don't think there's any real credence to that. I think it's just, like, kind of, I guess, wishful
thinking.
There's a wishful thinking. That's the phrase I'm looking for. I'm not braining good right now. Too much driving. Too much driving over the past 2 days.
Frazzled.
A little frazzled, but I think that would be a better approach. So if that indeed was true, I think that would be a solid move, I think. So anyway, like we said, in Kevin Feige we trust, in Marvel Studios we trust. We'll see what happens. I mean,
that's it.
I mean, to be fair, Alfred Molina, Dr. Octopus, I mean, one of the best, like, Spider-Man film villains we've seen. I mean, I think they've crushed it with Vulture and Mysterio and the newer ones, but in terms of the Raimi stuff, I think he was the best.
Yeah,
no disrespect to Willem Dafoe or to Topher Grace either. No, there's a lot of disrespect to Topher Grace's Venom, to be honest, but yeah.
I really did enjoy the video game Octopus.
That's true. Yeah,
I thought that was outstanding. I don't know
the PlayStation one, the newest one. Yeah. That's true. That was a good iteration of that. And that almost, to me, felt inspired by the Raimi Dr. Octopus. I mean, obviously, I think the comic book Doc Ock is a bit more of an asshole, whereas, he was a more sympathetic character, like a mind-controlled villain, more or less. A good dude that, his brain gets taken over by the chip controlling these arms, and then he turns into an asshole. And I think the Spider-Man game kind of had a similar approach of, benevolent Doc Ock, and then has science gone too far, sort of thing. At one point. So
yeah, you're right. It's kind of inspired from the Raimi.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Spider-Man 3. Not the Raimi one, the other one. Although hopefully not as chaotic. Whatever. Another trailer for John Wick 4. No, not John Wick 4. This one's called Nobody.
Right.
We got an official trailer for Nobody. Keanu Reeves is out. I mean, it's not Keanu Reeves. It's Bob Odenkirk, and he's doing things. He's a nobody, but he's a real badass. Let me tell you. What'd you think about this trailer?
So this trailer seemed like a more comedic. It's like the producer. I don't know. It's almost like somebody wanted a comedic John Wick, like they wanted an over-the-top John Wick movie, and they couldn't get it with Keanu Reeves. So they literally pulled every aspect of John Wick and made it comedic and made this movie.
It's kind of bizarre because before I even watched the trailer, I had seen people online being like, "Oh, it's kind of like John Wick," and I was just and when I started watching, I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is very John Wick."
It's all John Wick.
And then it's like produced by the guy that made John Wick and like written by one of the guys that wrote John Wick, and I'm like, what? This is the same,
it's the same shit.
I guess I thought it was going to be someone that was taking inspiration from John Wick, not literally John Wick, guys doing John Wick again, and the John Wick franchise has kind of gone in a different direction. Like the producer of this one is not the guy that's directed the past two John Wicks. Like it's the co-director that went on to do Deadpool and Atomic Blonde and all that good stuff, but it's a bizarre kind of thing, just the production of this film of just being like, let's just do it again, but a little bit different, and
that's exactly
let's
what
get a more
done.
comedic actor, and like it doesn't seem that it's bad, it doesn't look bad, it looks fine, it looks fun enough. Sure as shit, not watching it in theaters in February, like fuck off with that, but you know what I mean, like I don't know, I just do find it kind of bizarre though, like
it's the same fucking thing.
It's real. I mean, it is. It's like as close as to plagiarism as I think you can get. I mean, they're plagiarizing themselves, right? But like, usually when you make a movie that's similar to other movies, it's like you're being like referential or like, I don't know. This just to me is just it kind of reeks a little bit more of laziness to me of just being like, shit, they like that, let's do another one, and not a sequel. Like let's not like make a new story. Let's just do the same story, but like. Is a little funnier or something like that. I don't know. It's like I said, it very well might be fun, but I don't know. It was kind of perplexing that such a thing is existing, and apparently it does exist. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe if you haven't seen John Wick and this is like your entry point, you get like this is like your first experience with the John Wick movie, but it's not John Wick. It's nobody. I don't know. It's goofy. Maybe. It's weird. I think it reeks of laziness, like you said.
It's John Wick for a new generation, even though John Wick came out like I don't know, 6 years ago, something like that.
Right.
I don't know. Whatever. It's fine, I guess. I got nothing else to say on it. February 26th in theaters only. No thanks. Maybe I'll stream it later on, but
yeah. Put that shit on the HBO Max.
Time to talk about our favorite show of all time, Game of Thrones, which...
Has enough time passed? I don't know.
Andrew had a visible reaction to those words. He's like, you motherfucker! No! Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Game of Thrones still getting a spinoff. House of the Dragon is what it's called. It's about Targaryens before the other Targaryens. I don't know, whatever. And it's coming to HBO at some point, probably next year, I guess. At this point, actually, like probably legitimately next year, 2022, if I had to guess. 300 years before the events of Game of Thrones. So Targaryens are I think have probably made their way to Westeros and are doing weird incestuous blonde-haired things, I guess. Dragons, that sort of thing.
Is this Valeria, or is this after that?
No, I think it's after that. I think it's still pretty recent history for Game of Thrones lore. It's close enough, I think, that it's familiar, but far away enough that you won't see the same characters, I guess, overall.
Okay.
So it's all new characters. So anyway, I'm talking about it not just to bring up Game of Thrones for no reason, but because 3 people have been cast in lead roles for the show. So Olivia Cooke is going to be playing Alicent Hightower, who's described as the daughter of Otto Hightower, the Hand of the King, and someone that will be raised in the Red Keep, close to the king in the innermost circle, who has a courtly grace and a keen political acumen. So Olivia Cooke, she was the hideous monstrosity from Ready Player One. She was, she had a birthmark, and so everyone thought she was just the ugliest person for some reason, even though she's beautiful. Very bizarre. If you remember that great movie, which has a great book sequel that came out. Apparently, Ready Player 2, I think, is what it's called. And I've seen some excerpts on Twitter, and boy howdy are they great. Sarcasm for folks at home. So she's in it. Matt Smith will also be in it as Prince Daemon Targaryen, who is the younger brother to King Viserys and heir to the throne. A peerless warrior and a dragon rider. He possesses the true blood of the dragon. Oh. So Matt Smith, obviously, probably most well known from Doctor Who. I think he was the 11th Doctor on that. Anna, who, if she was here to make some input, would probably say that he might be most well known for being on The Crown as well. But for folks that watch The Crown, I hear it's excellent. I haven't watched it myself, but I hear it's excellent. Anna's nodding in the background, so she'll still be joining us later. She's just lurking. She's lurking in the shadows until Wonder Woman comes about, and we can talk about it, which we'll do soon. So Matt Smith's in it, and then finally Emma Darcy is going to be. It's one of those names with a D and then an apostrophe, and then it just throws me all off.
Makes you think of Anna de Armas.
No, because Anna de Armas is it's DE space. Like it's Anna of the Guns, basically, is kind of what that translates to. Like, it kind of makes sense. Here it's just I don't know. I'm an American. I don't understand this sort of thing. So but I think I know this one because the original bassist of the Smashing Pumpkins' name was Darcy, and it was kind of spelled this way. So I'm assuming it's the same principle that applies here. So Emma Darcy's Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, the king's firstborn child, pure Valyrian blood, dragon rider, blah, blah, blah. I don't fucking... They all ride dragons. They're fucking Targaryens. You guys get it. I mean, come... Okay, whatever. Anyway, you excited about this? Can you tell that I'm thrilled about this news?
Right. It's like, oh, God. Now, it might come on, and it might be just the coolest thing.
Maybe. I mean, I don't think D.B. Wise and David Benioff have anything to do with this shit. It's I think kind of based off of the history that was in the basically literal history book that George R.R. Martin wrote called Fire and Blood. So, maybe there's something good in here. And, there is still good within Game of Thrones. Remember those first 4 seasons. We remember them well.
They're incredible.
And obviously the books, all 5 of them. Maybe all 7 of them eventually. Who are we kidding now? Just all 5 of them. But, it's a hard thing. Do you let those the last season, but maybe arguably the last couple seasons of Game of Thrones just ruin the whole thing for you? Like, do you open yourself to the potential that, like, there's still good to be found within it? Like, I don't know. It's.
And see, I think there's good to be found, just in a completely different, like, area. Like, I don't need to know about things that happened 3 generations ago. Put me back with the first children, or put me back in Valeria, or put me back somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Right. This just feels too like we got enough Targaryens. Like, they weren't on the Iron Throne, fine, but like we got enough of them. You know what I mean? Like, to get a sense of, like, okay, like I said, blonde-haired, I guess silvered-haired dragons, great, we get it. Blood of the dragon. All right, it's fine, we get it. So do we need it? No. Will we watch it? Yeah, maybe. Probably. I mean, Who are we kidding? What I will be watching, I think, we'll still be checking it out and hoping for the best, is a Exorcist sequel coming from director David Gordon Green, who directed the Halloween film from 2018, I think, and is also directing the upcoming 2 sequels to that Halloween film called Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. So someone who started his franchise, or not his franchise, good lord, who started his career doing a lot of comedies. I think he did Pineapple Express and like The Sitter, like, you know, like some Jonah Hill shit. And now he's apparently just full-blooded and doing horror shit. So, you know, off the back of doing 3 Halloween films, he's going to be making an Exorcist sequel for Blumhouse.
Nice.
So, more Exorcist, more Blumhouse horror, which all of that seems pretty good. And certainly, if the first Halloween film, the 2018 one, wasn't amazing, I think it was good though. I think it was pretty good for what it was.
Yeah,
seems like he has the chops for something like this. Anything you might be on board for?
Absolutely, I'll definitely take that.
All right.
This is an Exorcist, the original Exorcist sequel.
I'm not sure if that's clear, although I wouldn't be surprised because, for the most part, the first Exorcist film was great, unequivocally great, just an amazing film, one of the best horror films of all time.
Right.
I don't,
It's not.
I think that's a pretty
take.
commonly shared opinion. I think I'll put it that way, and I feel very strongly about it myself. The Exorcist sequels, I think, for the most part, have been pretty rough. The direct sequel, Exorcist 2, The Heretic, is just absolute unwatchable trash. Weirdly enough, Exorcist 3, which came out, I think, over a decade after the original, is actually pretty good. It's based off of the actual book sequel to the Exorcist book called Legion. And it's a good, it's an adaptation of what seems to be a pretty good book, and it's a different story. It's not the same thing. It's got some overlap with the first Exorcist, but it kind of stands on its own, and I think that one was pretty good. But I think it's kind of a lesser known thing, and like it certainly hasn't taken on the legacy of the original by any stretch of the imagination. And then they did a couple prequels. Like a weird sort of thing happened where they made a prequel. I think it was one of those things like a director made a movie, they made the movie, and then like the execs watched it and thought, oh my god, this is bad. So they fired him, hired a new director to do reshoots, and then they put out the new movie with the reshoots added in, and then people were like, wow, this really fucking sucks. Let's watch the other one. So they ended up putting the original one out. It's a real Justice League situation, you might say. With the exception of they didn't have to go add $100 million of reshoots at the end of it to make a piece of shit that's 4 hours long. So the end result is 2 bad prequels came out, and I think they are fairly different from each other as it turned out, but both were kind of bad in their own right. So yeah, I mean, fuck it. More Exorcist. Yeah, if it's a direct sequel to the first one, I think that would be fine. Or if it's, I think it's a little bit different situation than like Halloween. Like, obviously, if you're making a Halloween sequel, Michael Myers is in it. Like, there's no question about it. If you're doing an Exorcist sequel, like, you can kind of go anywhere with it. I really feel like, like you kind of just need, some possession in it, and you need some priests to do an exorcism, and.
Well, do you follow did the Exorcist sequel and prequels? Do they all follow the same demon?
They may have. I'm not sure about that. I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, yeah. I mean, if that was the case, then I think. I think so. The Exorcist 2 brought back Linda Blair, who was the girl that had been possessed, in the first one. Legion, or Exorcist 3 rather. I think it might have had Father Karras, who was the younger preacher. I think he maybe appeared at one point in it.
Right.
But it really wasn't about him or anything like that. And then the prequels, I don't know. I think prequels might have been about the same demon, because I guess that would make sense. Is like, how would it be relevant otherwise? So, or maybe it was Max von Sydow's character when he was younger or something like that. I really don't know. I don't remember. I assume they're connected.
He was in that, wasn't he? I forgot about him being in that. Yep.
Yes, he was.
Oh, man.
Obviously, he won't be making an appearance in an Exorcist sequel, which, I think otherwise would be very cool. If indeed that was a possibility that could come to fruition, but certainly not these days. But yeah. Anyway, I'm on board. David Gordon Green, Blumhouse, Exorcist. I mean, I think there's potential there. There's no reason it can't work in my assessment. Right. So yeah. Winding down, 2 more pieces of news. His Dark Materials is getting a 3rd and final season over at HBO and BBC. I think the 2nd season is finished, right?
It is. I have not watched it. Okay.
I was going to ask if you were caught up on it.
Nope. But gotta watch it.
I think you enjoyed it from what you talked about last time. I guess you talked about it. Thought it's solid, good.
I think it's totally okay.
Totally okay. Enough that you're going to go back and finish season 2?
I will go back and finish season 2, and I will watch season 3.
Yeah.
So
it's nice. 3 seasons that's short and sweet, and in like a TV, sort of way of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that there were 3 books in the original trilogy. I think there have been subsequent books that have been added, but I still think there's like a trilogy basically, and that's clearly what they're going to be adapting for that 3rd and final season.
I think the characters are endearing enough. I think it's interesting enough. It doesn't blow my socks off, but I mean it's totally okay.
It's in a post-COVID isolation state, you could do worse. You could do Raised by Wolves to beat a dead horse again.
I can tell you, it's certainly better than that shit. It's Academy Award winning fucking quality compared to
top
Raised
tier
by
television.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, since we've hit the subject already once in this episode. Which was worse, Raised by Wolves or Game of Thrones, the final season?
Raised by Wolves.
It was worse?
Raised by Wolves fucking
oh my
bad.
Goodness, that's
Was
incredible.
bad. Bad. I actually,
you watched the whole thing.
I did watch the whole thing, and it was, I don't know how to describe it. Like it just it continuously got worse and worse and worse, and you couldn't help but look away. It's like, I have to find out what the fuck happens. Like, it's so fucking like, it's just, I don't know. I don't want to tell you to watch it, but I kind of want to tell you to watch it. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I mean, one day maybe.
What was the Rotten Tomatoes scores on that shit?
I think it reviewed fairly well. Not like amazing, but I do think that people were kind of pretty all right with it, I would say. So
72%. They're out of their fucking mind. No way. No way.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting to me because I had seen the reviews to hear how negative you were about it. I guess I figured obviously people disliked it, but this is rising to a serious level of enmity, which I'm impressed by, and I'm sorry to keep exposing you to the fact that you have to talk about it again and again, but it feels, I don't know, it's just funny to me. So anyway, his Dark Materials 3rd and final season probably coming next year. I would maybe even 2022 at this point, or fuck. God damn it! Now I did it. I did it the wrong way that time. Certainly not going to come this year, I wouldn't imagine. So maybe early 2022 would be my guess. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they got their filming protocols figured out and shit. Who knows? All right. Last news for the day is a trailer for a movie called The Little Things. All-star Academy Award-winning cast: Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. Everyone's favorite Jared Leto, but of course, coming to theaters and streaming exclusively on HBO Max on January 29th. It's a bit of a thriller, serial killer sort of thing. The Little Things. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm about this one.
Looks good.
This looks like a Jared Leto that I like. I don't have a problem with all forms of Jared Leto.
Look, if Jared Leto was playing a weird, creepy, maybe serial killer, yeah, I could buy it. Yeah, totally.
Or drug addict, whacked out on drugs. I can, totally dig it.
I don't want to see it necessarily. I mean, cast someone else, but hey, if gun to your head, you got to do it for some reason. I suppose there are worse things you could cast him as, like the Joker or whatever.
I haven't seen Denzel Washington play in a whole lot recently. I know he's done things, but this looks like a good role for him. Who's making this movie?
That's a good question. I actually don't even know who's directing this. Oh, it's John Hancock is directing it.
John Hancock.
The man's name is John Lee Hancock, who is directing this. He wrote the screenplay and he's directing it. John Hancock, you know John Hancock, right?
The John Hancock?
Yes, the one and only John Hancock. He's done. It looks like he's done a few things. A lot of sports movies, I guess. But he did The Rookie. Was that the Dennis Quaid one?
Okay.
Yeah, it was. 2002. It's a few years ago. He did The Alamo. Was that also Dennis Quaid?
Yeah.
This man loves Dennis Quaid. Is Dennis Quaid in this shit too? He did The Blind Side, Saving Mr. Banks, which I think was the Disney one?
He's done good movies.
So yeah, a few pretty good ones in there. Most recently, he did The Founder, which I heard was good. That was the Michael Keaton playing the McDonald's founder.
Okay, yeah, I did hear good things about that.
2019, he did The Highwaymen with Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson.
Never saw that one.
I guess it was a Netflix movie. It looks like, so no idea if it was good, but yeah, he's got a decent resume certainly. So
this will look pretty good. I'm about it. Like I said, I think it looks interesting. It gives me. I haven't seen a good detective movie in a while.
Yeah, maybe it'll scratch that niche that.
Every couple of years,
that True Detective was designed to work for, and then season 2 happened, and then it was just like, okay, well, we're good.
I heard season 3 was good.
Never actually watched season 3. Never actually watched that. I heard it was good, but yeah, no, Mahershala is great, so maybe I should watch that at some point. But anyway, yeah, it looks. I think I got to be in the right mood for this kind of movie, and I'm glad that it's coming to streaming. I think that's great. This will be the first of the debuting alongside theatrical releases for the HBO Max for the WB movies. And
okay.
It'll be, it's cool, to have that option on the table, certainly. Well, I guess the first one besides Wonder Woman 1984, duh. But, for 2021 anyway. So yeah, I'm curious about it. I think it looks intriguing enough to warrant a watch. And certainly it's a no-brainer when you can just stream it on HBO Max. So, yeah, I'll give it a go. Maybe this will be something we can pencil in for the end of the month. It seems like something that might be worth covering, and
And I think it's a watchable movie for both parties in this household. I think both parties might enjoy this movie.
Perhaps. So there you have it. The Little Things coming out January 29th, and there you have it for the news. We didn't spend 2 hours on it like we did with Disney Investor Day, but maybe we'll talk about Wonder Woman 1984 for a long time. So, Wonder Woman 1984. And as promised, for our coverage of Wonder Woman 1984, we bring in the one and only Anna Mattis. How's it going?
Hello. At first, when you said Anna Mattis, I just feel like I'm so used to people saying it's Manatis. And so I got really thrown about what my name is, but hello.
Welcome to the party.
And a party indeed. Wonder Woman 1984. Well, we all watched it on HBO Max, where it debuted on Christmas Day, alongside a debut in theaters as well. I don't think any of us were brave enough to make that trek, or dumb enough, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely dumb enough. That not putting people's lives at risk is not brave. It's just stupid. But I was going to point out that when we watched it, or at least when Andrew and I watched it for the first time, Colton the second time, we're all watching it in sync at the same time and texting while watching. So
yeah,
that's a good point. And bring up the fact that I've seen it twice now. I watched it with the fam. On Christmas Day, we had a Wonder Woman sort of Christmas. We watched the first one, and then we ended up watching 1984 the same night.
Nice.
So it was a sort of untraditional Christmas, but it was fun in some ways. And then I rewatched it when I was hanging out with Andrew. Like I said before, at the beginning of the episode, so many minutes ago. Yeah, we watched it again. I watched it for the second time. He watched it for the first time, and Anna had started kind of her watch at that point, and I think pressed pause and then kind of came back once we were able to kind of sync up, and then we enjoyed the ride the rest of the way together, or something like that. So Wonder Woman 1984 was written by Patty Jenkins, Jeff Johns, and Dave Callahan, directed by Patty Jenkins, returning from Wonder Woman from a few years ago. Stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig, and Pedro Pascal, who we've talked about on this episode already. In 1984, Diana Prince lives quietly among mortals in the vibrant, sleek 1980s until new threats force her to muster all of her strength, wisdom, and courage. And, if I may, oh my god, I want to talk about some fucking box office, because I haven't done that shit in
man.
I mean, years?
A box office breakdown?
Months is the word I'm looking for. A box office breakdown is what we're looking at. So, Wonder Woman 1984 did not do all that well at the box office, which I'm sure is just hugely shocking. Given that there's like a pandemic going on or whatever. I mean, I don't know if anything like that, but also the fact that it came out on HBO Max too. So, you got to take these numbers kind of with a grain of salt in a sort of way, but I mean, WB did certainly push it out the door into theaters, I guess. As of its current run, as of its second weekend, it stands at $28.5 million. I think I was trying to find the numbers for the first weekend. I'm sure they're on the internet. Everything's on the internet. But I think it did about 16 million its first weekend, which, I think technically was the best weekend debut of any movie since the pandemic. I guess hit America is probably the best way to put it, since theaters shut down and then subsequently reopened at any point. I think Tenet did around 9-10 million, something like that. So Wonder Woman 1984, I guess relatively speaking, crushed it in terms of how it did with the box office, but certainly it's well off the mark of what the first one did 3 years ago. So very different situation, very different circumstances. I'm not sure if we have figures on how it's done on HBO Max. I'm sure subscriptions rather went up quite a bit, I would have to imagine.
Oh, sure.
It is a limited time engagement on HBO Max. It's only on there for, I think, 31 days, something like that. So, people have about a month to enjoy it on there. People have about a month to watch it on there. Sorry, I might have tipped my hand a little bit there, but yeah, that's kind of it for box office. I got to get my box office numbers in when I can get them, and maybe 2021 means that we can talk about box office on a semi-regular basis. Hopefully by the end of the year. I'll say optimistically by the end of the year. If AMC and Regal are still around by that point anyway. So Who knows what's happening on that front? Probably bankruptcy, if I had to guess, but we'll see. So anyway, that's the box office breakdown. So
they are getting stimulus. Did we talk about that? We didn't talk about that. The new PPP is going to help out venues and theaters.
I see. Well, they will be stimulated then.
They will be stimulated.
Very good. Anyone have any thoughts on box office? I mean, it's probably not the most exciting. Maybe people just want to talk about the movie, but
I wish that all box office numbers were 0, because no one should be going to the movie theater, because that's a dumb thing to do. Because people are allowed to take off their masks and you're in an enclosed space with other human beings for an extended period of time. Okay, that's all.
You heard it here first. Probably not. Probably heard it multiple times and then just ignored those warnings, but here's another one for you. So Wonder Woman 1984. It is out in the wild. We've seen it once or twice, depending on who you are. And Watch Review Repeat exclusive, we can confirm that it is a movie. I'm curious to hear how everyone else felt about it. I have thoughts of my own, certainly, and certainly some that, I had some thoughts after viewing 1, went back in for viewing 2. I think maybe even the next day. It might have even been the next day. But yeah, I mean, who wants to open up the dialogue? Wonder Woman 19.
Well, my thoughts on it. I think Anna can kick off the review.
I think I would like to preface this with some background. So I as a fan of DC Comics and Justice League, and particularly Batman, Wonder Woman has always meant a lot to me and been something I really like. I think I only really started reading the comics maybe 5 years ago. I think 5 years ago is when I started, and I've read all of New 52. I'm almost caught up on Rebirth. I've read a lot of crossover runs, stuff like that. I loved the first Wonder Woman so much that I saw it opening night, and then I saw it 2 more times in theaters. That's the most I've ever seen a movie in theaters. I even dragged my mom to it, who typically does not like superhero movies, and she loved it. I listened to the soundtrack while I studied for the LSATs. I listened to No Man's Land before I walked in and took the LSATs, which I then did very well on. So I feel like I've always had like a good association with Wonder Woman. I had just gotten some early Christmas presents from Colton that were Wonder Woman themed, some comics, also some Wonder Woman comics from his parents. I got a board game that's Wonder Woman from Colton, and I also got this really cool book that right now the title is totally escaping me, but basically it's a coffee table book that goes in depth with sketches and concept art and then pictures from the movie, and interviews with Patty Jenkins, with the director of photography, with the costume designer, with like set designer, with like a bunch of different people involved in making the movie. So I had spent, basically almost a week up to watching it, like reading this book, and I haven't finished it because it's pretty big. But just like really going in depth on all the things that I really loved about the first movie, and like thinking about it and thinking about how excited I had been for 1984 and how every time it was delayed I was disappointed, and how for a while it was like my laptop background, and just really thinking about how much I love Wonder Woman and how excited I was.
And that trailer was so awesome, right? Did you like the trailer?
I did. I remember being it's funny, really leading up to it, my biggest concern was Kristen Wiig and Cheetah, which that fear turned out to be completely unfounded, because I think that was the best part of the movie, because my general just first reaction is, what a fucking disappointment Wonder Woman 1984 was. That's pretty much how I feel about it.
So where do you begin?
I mean, it opened with the best parts, and then it went downhill from there. I think my kind of general feeling was that, and I guess this is non-spoilers, my general feeling was like the first 2/3 were fine, that I felt okay, that there were some fun parts, there were some silly parts as well, but like, mostly just felt fine. And then it just, completely shit the bed and was fucking terrible. And I think the last third was genuinely awful and not good. And I don't know if I can think of anything redeeming in the last third at all.
Wow.
I think when we get to spoilers, I will read some of my reactions that I had in real time, because I think they're pretty fitting. But that's just my general kind of initial feelings about this movie.
I'm sorry that Wonder Woman was much like 2020. Just a complete disappointment. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think, high expectations felt good in the beginning, some really good time. Last January was great. Last January was after we were done with the flu, we were good. January was good. February was good. That first week of March was great. And then
straight downhill, shit the bed.
Correct.
We got Sonic the Hedgehog in February. How could it have gone any better?
That was the last movie I saw in theaters, and I'm so upset about that, because I fucking hated that movie. I went to the bathroom during it, and then I just stood out in the hallway for a while because I didn't want to go back in, and I was debating if I could get away with not going back, and then I figured Colton would get mad and be worried, so I went back in.
Anna. Wasted the last opportunity.
Could be worse. Could have watched Bloodshot as your last film in theaters. Bloodshot. Anyway. Yes, Andrew, I do know how you feel, but the listeners do not know how you feel about Wonder Woman 1984, so it's your duty to inform them of your thoughts.
So I think the trailer was pretty cool for Wonder Woman. Blue October, I think, was the thing with
Blue
that.
Monday, yeah.
Blue Monday, what did I say? Blue October. Blue October is the rock band.
The
Get
same,
my words
yeah.
mixed up. Same thing. Yeah, I remember liking the trailer pretty good. I thought it was pretty cool. And I was hoping, like the first Wonder Woman, I think the first 2/3 of it were good. I didn't like the last third of it. I think is my sentiment on that. But
I agree with that, by the way.
Okay.
I thought the first 2/3 of the first Wonder Woman were absolutely fantastic and great. And I thought the last third of the first Wonder Woman was messy, but fine. And then I think still ended on a good note. It was really just...
Yeah, see, I really
mess.
I really didn't like the ending of the third. I thought it brought the movie down a bunch, in my opinion. But
when I say ending, I mean like the...
not the ending.
Victory Square. That's where I was like,
third.
this is fine. Yeah, the last third was very messy.
But this particular Wonder Woman, though, was complete shit from beginning to end. And that's my humble opinion. I thought this movie was... I really didn't enjoy any... don't get me wrong, I laughed at the movie. Colton saw me interact with the movie quite a few times. I mean, it's fine. But I thought it was just trash from beginning to end. I didn't like any... I can't think of any bit of the movie I really liked. I mean, it's...
You're going to tell me that you didn't like... Well, shit, Diana!
that was
Come on,
funny.
you liked that.
That was funny. Yeah, Chris Pine was good. I liked Chris Pine.
Everything on Themyscira was good.
No, I didn't like that either. I didn't like that.
That's just objectively wrong.
With the little girl running and the jumping and the out swimming the full-grown women and sliding down the thing and then all that.
Did you miss the part where she's a demigod?
No, I know she's a demigod. Aren't they all demigods?
No.
They're all just Amazonian women?
Yeah.
And she's the demigod?
Yeah.
I didn't know that part. Okay, that's fair.
I didn't know that. That's the whole premise of the first movie, that she's the daughter of Zeus. That's why she's got the lightning powers.
I thought she was just princess of the Amazonians.
She's the princess, but it's because
she's got a royal, she's got a godly bloodline.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, I didn't know that. But either way, the beginning of this movie was trash. Didn't like it.
Of the first movie.
I don't remember that being a thing. Was that a thing?
Well, I mean, in Andrew's defense, when's the last time you watched Wonder Woman?
Like when it was in theaters, when we saw it for theaters. I haven't rewatched it.
I mean, and maybe he's a purist. Maybe he thinks Wonder Woman was sculpted from clay.
Well, I do too. Like I've always been fairly opposed to that storyline, like that it wasn't about Hippolyta just like really wanting, a daughter, because that's the classic bit of it, that's why she's special, and they mock her because she was made of clay, and then her powers are just because she is an Amazon, but then they give, really it's New 52 that does that, and I like it just because the more heavily like about the gods, although then they go off the rails in Rebirth because they're like, oh, she's got a twin brother. So stupid. If you're gonna give her a twin, make it Nubia. But yeah, no, that's a significant, because there's a whole thing where Ares calls her sister.
I have blotted out all memory of Ares. That was... Wait,
I'm sorry. So you saw Wonder Woman once?
Yeah, I saw it once. Yeah,
that's real dumb. You should watch Wonder Woman again, because the first one is very good.
Okay, that's fair. But I will say...
So anyway, Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
Your assessment is complete shit. Do you have any thoughts to expand upon that you'd like to offer now? Obviously, we can talk more, but...
I thought that the acting was paycheck worthy. Like, everybody showed up for a paycheck. Specifically Pedro Pascal. He was just getting paid. Ham it up.
He was going to town.
He was not just getting paid. You can think what you want about that character, but Pedro Pascal was fantastic as he always is.
Yes, I love Pedro. I don't
showing up for a paycheck.
He's showing up for a pay. Well, I take it back. I mean, we'll have to get into it in a little bit in spoilers, but I think Patty Jenkins directed this, right?
Yes.
I don't know how we got the third act of this movie. Somebody's to blame. It's either Patty Jenkins or Pedro Pascal for the third act of this movie.
I think it's Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns? Then fuck Jeff Johns.
That's who I think it is. That's
Jeff Johns.
That's your theory too. I believe that's Colton's.
But there's someone to blame for Hi-Ho Silver. We'll get into it. There's somebody to blame for the third act of the blue lights, which we'll get into it. There's a lot of things in this particular movie that is just really shitty, and I didn't like.
Correct.
I didn't really. I mean, I didn't really enjoy a whole lot of this movie. That was pretty
like
shitty.
This one. I couldn't blame you for not rewatching. Like I have no interest in watching this again.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at the poor sod who saw it twice in 2 days because he loved it so much. No, that's not why.
So how'd you feel about it, Cole?
I guess I'm probably gonna lean more towards how Anna felt. I watched this, like I said, Christmas night. Anna hadn't seen it at that point. We did our simultaneous watch, simul watch. I don't know, there's a word for that probably. On Saturday, and I kind of had to be cagey about my thoughts with it to her, because I didn't want to, totally take a shit on all of her hopes and dreams and stuff about it. But it really was disappointing, and it's just not good. I don't think it's complete shit. I don't think it's. I think there's good in it. I think there's a lot of good moments in it. I think across the board, I think that the cast is pretty good overall. The writing is just dreadful at points. Particularly the third act absolutely is just a hot mess. It's more than that. It's just outright bad. It's offensively bad, the third act. And I think that there are points throughout the first and second acts that I'm just like, this isn't for me. And I don't think it's a case of necessarily bad writing or bad anything. It's just I don't know if I really like what this is putting out. It's just maybe not for me, not what I wanted. Because, if I had to pay any compliment to this movie, it's that they did not make the first movie over again. And I think the first movie is legitimately great. Rewatched it on Christmas Day because I think it's a legitimately great film, hampered by a third act with the smoke monster Ares and that sort of nonsense, the sort of typical DC bullshit nonsense that they pulled out with their third acts for most of their movies. There's a little bit of that in this one, not as much, not as egregious. And
they changed it up a little bit.
They changed it up a little bit, and they made it worse in many other ways. So that was the trade-off: is you don't get big smoke monster, you get everything else worse as a result of that. It's the monkey's paw, if you will. So it
the complete basis of the core of the story of this movie, the core of the plot, is just fucking stupid.
It's kind of surprising to me. It doesn't. It's just. I guess it's one of the. It's a comic book movie, right? It's a comic book movie. Fine, whatever. But comic book movies are good. These days, you know what I mean?
Right?
We're kind of in a golden age, I think, of comic book movies, and there are movies that absolutely lean into their comic book sensibilities, and DC's done it before. I think Aquaman was one that really leaned into its comic book sensibilities, and I think it kind of worked for it. It wasn't a great movie, but it was good. It was fun.
Yeah.
And this one, I think, kind of tried to hit the same sort of mark, but I do agree, its main plot device felt like something out of a comic book, but not a good comic book. You know what I mean? Just something that, and it's something that maybe if it did work on the page, it did not work on the screen. And it was why are you making your whole movie around this one kind of thing? It was just kind of odd. I think it was just an odd decision, a storytelling decision principally.
And it could have elaborated or morphed or evolved into something more, and it never did. It always remained about this one singular thing. Just fucking
it was kind of the crux of the entire film, of the plot of the entire film, and it just wasn't compelling, really. I think the movie put some good characters on the board. It brought in. I think its villains were significantly more compelling than they were in the first film. And the first film, it's generic German villain and generic evil scientist woman, and then I guess generic Greek god smoke monster man. You know what I mean? And like the first movie, for as much as I like it, its villains suck. They kind of suck. Like, they're pretty bad, to be honest. Like, just very one note and not interesting to watch or anything like that. Here, the villains are absolutely interesting to watch, and in the case of certainly someone like Pedro Pascal, hamming it up at times. You know what I mean? Like, really leaning into kind of the over the top nature that a lot of this film seemingly happily embraces. So it does that well, but it's just the plot element, the big thing that this movie is about. It's just fundamentally stupid. I think I agree with that. It's just I just don't understand why they made a movie about this. And so yeah, I guess I blame Jeff Johns of just being like, I don't know. I mean, who's to blame? I mean, like, Patty Jenkins directed the first one. She came back for this one. I think she did a great job, with that first one. I think she's a good director, and I do think this movie is well directed too. Like, I think the action scenes work pretty well for the most part. They're not, exciting. I don't think they're as good as they were in the first one, but, they're fine. It feels well-directed. The performances, I think, are good, if maybe, sometimes leaning too much into Joel Schumacher Batman territory in terms of campiness.
Which, I will say, that's completely okay if that's what your movie is.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can't go from... You just it was total whiplash. You know what I mean? Between what we get in the beginning of the movie, what we get in the middle of the movie, and what we get at the end of the movie. It just seems they feel like different movies.
Yeah, I mean, the third act, I think, particularly in this one, just goes off on the deep end in a bad way, in a very bad way.
So maybe that's Jeff Green's. Is that what you call him? So what he goes by?
Jeff Greens is fine with me.
Jeff Greens, whatever.
Doesn't really matter. Fuck his name up. Who cares?
Yeah, if that's his fault, fuck him, man, because he didn't settle well with me. So, anyways, that's...
I mean, part of me wonders also if, honestly, it's just the, 3 different people writing it.
That could be it too.
I think there's a lot of people who can write as a team and do a good job, but I feel like the better... joint writing ventures, it's when they've had time to work together and kind of figure each other out. And I feel like, I don't know, this feels like each third was somebody taking over practically.
Sure.
But
it could have been. Who knows?
Yeah.
Could have been. But you want to dive into recommendations?
Let's do it. Recommendation. Do you want to kick it off, Andrew? Do you have thoughts? I guess refresher, 5-tiered scale. God, I can't remember what our scale is. Fuck me. There it is. Very yes is the very top. Yeah, I had a script in front of me and I forgot to look. Brain not working very well. Followed by yes, middle ground of totally fine, followed by fine, and at the bottom rung, something we don't bust out very often, but it might be on the table. Shithouse. Shithouse is at the bottom. Andrew, are you going to sink to the lowest of lows?
No,
for this one. Okay, it's not Hellboy. It's not Wrinkle in Time level. Okay, all right.
No,
it's not. It's not. It really is not. We've obviously been pretty negative overall, and I think
that's because of the bar that the first one set. The quality of the trailer that I thoroughly enjoyed that trailer when it came out.
Expectations versus reality.
Correct.
Well, and I think also, I think it was Roxanne Gay who pointed out on Twitter that, it had all the pieces. It had the great director. It had these great casting decisions. It had the money. It had the foundation of the first one. It had all the pieces. So, of course we expected a good movie.
Sure. But I think my recommendation's going to land at fine. It's fine. We've said it a couple of times before in the past. I think this is a good hotel room movie. Is about where I'd put it. I'd put it as a
that's kind of our invented addendum to the recommendation scale. But if it happens to it's halfway on and you're just like, Chris Pine's putting on some cute outfits. All right, it's the 80s, yay, that sort of thing.
That's it. Good hotel movie. We're getting looks from Anna. Do you see how that is a thing? A hotel room movie?
Yeah.
That's where I'd
I think
say
my
it is.
idea of a hotel room movie is something different, but that's okay.
Not that kind of hotel room movie.
No. Honestly, whenever I think of hotel room movies, I actually just always think of Harry Potter playing on ABC. Well, it's Freeform now, but I feel like that's like what
I think of Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah, I just feel like everybody has Freeform, and like if you're in a hotel room, it's probably a weekend, and if it's a weekend, you have like a 25% chance that like there's a Harry Potter weekend on. So.
That's true. Like Rush Hour. Like that's like seems like every time I'm in a hotel room, it's Rush Hour, Chris Rock and Jackie Chan kicking ass.
Every time I actually am in a hotel room, it's just you doing your show, diners, drive-ins, and dives. I did it in the wrong order, didn't I?
Diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's. Oh boy. My recommendation is also fine. It's fine. I think the first 2/3 are totally fine. But I think that last third is so fucking terrible that it really just it wrecks it, and just I think like we talked about the first movie like had a really weak, messy third, but it was okay because the first 2/3 were great, and the last third wasn't horrible. It just was messy. This one, first 2/3 were fine. Last third, fucking horrible. So this is fine. It's fine.
So I struggled a little bit with this one. I came out watching it the first time, and I didn't really feel a whole lot. It was kind of that dull sort of sensation. You're just like, I know it was. It wasn't a crushing disappointment. It wasn't that I was so excited for it and thought it was going to be amazing. It had good reviews coming in, which have plummeted by 30%. Clearly they carefully curated their early reviewees or whatever. I thought the setting seems like it's going to be great. Patty Jenkins coming back, all the things that Anna mentioned, and quoting Roxanne Gay, of just being the pieces are in place. What could go wrong, and boy, did pretty much everything go wrong that could have gone wrong. I think I said that backwards. Whatever, you get the point. It was just a mess. It was just a mess, and the first time I kind of just was just like, am I the crazy one? Did I not understand this? Did I, and so, when I was talking to Anna, like I said, I was just like, I don't want to tip my hand too much and say I didn't like it. 'Cause I'm not sure if I liked it or not. I watched it a second time. I didn't like it.
You also watched it with me, and I was talking most of the time. What the fuck is going on? What is this?
It's just not good. I mean, plain and simple. I think there are moments of good in here, and to Anna's point of saying that the first 2/3 are totally fine, I agree with that. And I think there's glimpses of a yes or a very yes movie in there, but moments, not barely, maybe not even scenes, but moments. And that third act is, I can't think of the first Wonder Woman movie had a bad third act, but I'm just no, I'll take that again. Just if they chucked Ares into this movie in the third act, that'd have been yeah, fine, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just the pieces were there, but they wasted the setting. The 1980s, did it take place in the 1980s? I couldn't tell. You know what I mean? And compelling villains were there. Were they used well? No, not really. Chris Pine was there. Was he perfectly charming and wonderful as he was in the first one? Yeah. Did he need to be there? No, absolutely not. He had no business being in this movie.
I disagree with that, because I think that there was absolutely a way to bring Chris Pine back in a way that made sense and wasn't really fucking stupid and creepy, and they just didn't do it. I think they're I think kind of an unfortunate reality of the comics and of the characters. Like it's Steve Trevor, or it's Superman, and like that's it pretty much. So I don't begrudge them for wanting to bring him back, especially because Chris Pine is delightful. But this is just so bad.
So I guess I'll slightly rephrase. Do I think that Steve Trevor needed to be in this particular movie with this particular plot? Absolutely not. Do I think there's a Wonder Woman sequel where you bring back Chris Pine to play Steve Trevor and it works really well? Yes, I do think so. This movie is not that, I think is what I would say about that. I think Gal Gadot is not particularly amazing in this movie. She's not particularly wonderful, to be very lame about it. She's best when she's with Chris Pine. I think they have a nice chemistry that they clearly, established in that first movie and build off of, and they work really well together here. But the character of Diana Prince in this movie, I just don't think she pulls it off all that well. I think overall, I mean, maybe it's the writing, maybe it's not her fault. I don't know, but she doesn't embody the role as well as she did in the first one. And there was like a naivete to the character in the first movie that I think she was really, really good at. And here it's more of a sophisticated, cool, experienced Diana. And I just don't think she sells it. So anyway, fine. That's what I'm saying. I'm fine. Fine.
It's
fine.
Fine is your recommendation?
Yes. I go with fine as well. I thought initially it might be totally fine, but on rewatch and simmering for a bit, I have to go with fine. It's not a Hellboy, it's not a Wrinkle in Time, but it's fine. It's fine. So
it's fine compared to those two.
It's a masterpiece compared to those two. Those are bottom rung shithouse. I mean, below shithouse, really. Full spoilers for Wonder Woman 1984. So a lot to cover here. Where do we begin? Full spoilers, anything goes. Anna, I think you have a lot to say about Wonder Woman 1984. I feel like you've been holding back a little bit. You didn't know what to say in non-spoilers, but now you're unrestrained, you're unshackled. Let it all out. What do you have to say about Wonder Woman 1984?
Well, I wanted to tell you this text. So my first impressions, just reading from this text, I'm not going to read all of them, was, so opening is great, obviously. Second scene already makes me angry. So that was good. That was a good start, wasn't it? Like I said, I really liked the opening. I liked how it tied into everything. I liked going back to Themyscira because I think I think we can all agree that was the best part of Justice League. Apparently, I was told a couple days later that WB wanted to cut that entire opening, which is some real dumb shit on their part, which shouldn't surprise me at all.
Andrew, are you a WB exec? Because you wanted to cut it, didn't you? I think it was you, wasn't it?
I think when we were watching it, I think I sold to Colton. I turned to him and said, "This just seems like some Zack Snyder bullshit." I think that's what I told him about the beginning.
That's fucking rude. I like it because it displays the athleticism of those women.
And that's great.
I didn't like the fact that... So number one, I had just read this whole thing about how in the first movie, they took pains to make sure that every Amazon was in a unique costume. They handmade all that shit. So everyone, there were overlapping similarities.
And that's cool.
But yeah, it's really cool. And all this stuff about the ways they dyed the leather and got made molds of these women because it would take so long to make it. And then to watch them be like, oh, we're going to have 7 women or however many it was, all wearing the same fucking thing. And then we're going to put the rest of them in the stands in togas. What the fuck? This isn't ancient Rome, you dipshits. Why would they be wearing dresses? They should be also in battle gear. Every Amazon is a warrior. That's the whole fucking point. So that pissed me off. It also is ridiculous that it's in this huge fucking stadium because according to the first movie in this book I read, there's only 300 of them. Which, fine. Maybe that was inaccurate. Maybe there's 500. But there aren't 6,000. Fucking stupid. already being lazy, and like that's what irritates me.
Who did that?
Like you can't take such pains to have this detail and thought put into the first movie and have the second one be like, oh, whatever, there's like 6,000 of them. Fucking annoying already, even though I loved that scene. The mall scene is fucking offensive. Honestly, just offensive to anyone with a brain. You're telling me, first of all, that she has this iconic outfit and she's been popping up for the last 70 fucking years and she's a secret? No one knows who she is? Fuck out of here. That is nonsense. There is this weird thing that this movie has done where it's Wonder Woman is a secret, you know, it's a secret identity. Diana Prince is... Fuck that. That is so fucking stupid. Even if you want to have Diana Prince having a life and having that be a secret identity, this idea that like Wonder Woman doesn't exist in this universe as like a public figure, all that's doing is trying to stay in line with Batman versus Superman. And why the fuck do we care about continuity with that stupid fucking movie? It's really annoying. It doesn't make any sense. She's wearing an iconic outfit that hasn't changed. You're telling me no one has noticed this woman before, and she convinces every child who sees... What is she, Santa Claus? It's fucking stupid. And it irritated me. Everything in that scene was such nonsense. Like,
Slide the little girl into the teddy bear?
Oh, good God. Oh. I also just everything about it too. I was like, are you trying to be Stranger Things right now? Because Stranger Things, when they brought in like this 80s subculture of like being at the mall as a teenager, it was very thoughtful and it made sense. Like this was just like, oh, 80s malls. Malls were big in 84. Like, I don't know. And this is something that Colton said in non-spoilers, and I should have said it then. Sorry. I'm bad at knowing what to say then. But, you know, Captain Marvel wasn't just like, oh, this is set in the 90s so that it makes sense because Nick Fury has two eyes and like he's younger and like she disappeared, whatever. They were like, let's put in blockbuster. Let's put in some great 90s music. Like, let's make it fun. Like, this didn't do any of that. It was like, it reminded me of something that like someone who hadn't lived in the 80s would say like, this is what I think the 80s is. Or like, I don't know. I thought
didn't
that
feel
there was
authentic, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I thought there was such potential there to make it really cool. Like this time period was picked for a reason. And like, obviously we know, you know, ultimately that like that reason is the Cold War, but like, why not lean into it and like do something fun with it? So that's how I felt about the opening. I thought the third scene was fine when it's like just Diana on her own. I'm okay with that. I think Diana in the comics does have like these moments where she really is just like in her own head and she's not around anyone else. And so I was okay with that. I was fine with that. I feel bad because I feel like I'm just ranting now, but I have so many other thoughts, and I'll let you guys talk before I get into Barbara.
Barbara.
Was her name Barbara or was it Barbara? Barbara? I think it was Barbara. Well,
she had a lazy eye. She was looking at me.
you talking about the girl with the lazy eye?
Who played her?
I think it was Kristen Wiig.
I think it was.
I think it's literally Kristen Wiig in that and Flight of the Conchords there. Anna's gonna check it out. Google confirms it was in fact Kristen Wiig who is playing Barbara.
Really?
Barbara.
That's incredible.
So yeah, that was a very fun coincidence that just kind of that very much came up on the fly there. So, so yes, while Anna is simmering in the next line of thoughts that she has about this wonderful, wonderful movie here, I will just respond to I guess a couple things that she mentioned. I like the opening. I think I do think it is the best scene of the movie. Like, I mean, it's just I think the Themyscira stuff is good. I like the setting, and qualms aside about the attention to detail or the lack thereof. I think it's a cool sequence. You know, it's a good set piece. It's the only this movie does bookends with like the IMAX aspect ratio, and like it worked here. Didn't really work at the end of the movie. I don't know why the fuck they bothered at the end of the movie. I guess we can get to that in a little bit of time, but
I forgot about that.
I mean, the literal end of the movie, like just people hanging out, you know, and it's very dumb. But beyond that, I like that. I don't. I saw someone on Twitter pointed out like the only reason this movie is set in the 1980s is so that there's an explanation for why Superman is not intervening in World War III, which to me makes a lot of sense. Or he could have just set when he was dead after Batman v Superman if you're so beholden to continuity. What was the first scene? Oh, the mall scene. Oh, yeah. So my thoughts on the mall scene. That was the moment where I was like, oh no. Just the tone of that was, people compare it to like the Richard Donner Superman tone, and like fair, I guess, but like I just watched Wonder Woman 1, which I think is a pretty serious movie. I think it's a pretty serious movie. Like there's levity in it, by virtue of the characters, cracking jokes and stuff like that. But in terms of tone, it is dead serious, and it works for the movie. I think it makes sense for the movie. It makes sense for the character. Here, I think, by virtue of having watched them so closely, it was so jarring. And on rewatch, when I, knew what to expect walking in, I was just like, oh no, again, this is just bad. It's not that it's jarring, it's that it's jarring and bad. I hated pretty much that whole scene. Just hated it. It made me feel uncomfortable the first time, and then it solidified, as hatred the second time through. But
okay, there was one thing I liked in it. But it was just where the guy like points the gun at her and she's like, no, we're not going to do that today. I did kind of like that, how she just like completely unbothered. And she's like, no, we're not. No, you dumb man with a gun. No, we're not doing that. So I did like that. I'll give it that. But it feels like and I feel like there were multiple parts like this throughout the film where it was like, there was this good moment and it's almost like somebody smart, probably Patty Jenkins, like had this good moment. And then they were like, how do we get there? What do we do? How do we get there? And then everything else happened.
Almost like the getting dressed part with Chris Pine. Or no. Well, the fucking radar. That's what it was. It was the radar.
The radar.
Are you shitting me? That was funny.
Probably. I mean, the funniest line in the film.
I think that was. I think that is the best for me, for my money, for my $15 HBO Max subscription. Chris Pine says, "Are you shitting me, Diana?" I think that is my...
He says, well, shit, Diana.
What is it?
He says, well, shit, Diana.
Yeah, exactly. That, for me, that was the best part of the movie for me. That was
I agree.
Great.
That and Kristen Wiig.
But
that I think I had said this before, but I was really worried about Kristen Wiig as Cheetah because I really like especially what Rebirth did with Cheetah and Barbara Ann because...
Well, what did it do? What is Cheetah all about?
So, I guess spoilers for anyone who wants to read Rebirth, but essentially, there's a whole kind of sequence where Diana helps cure Barbara of Cheetah.
How did she get her Cheetah from a wishing rock?
From a wishing citrine? No, she doesn't. It's actually kind of stupid. I don't love.
It's got to be better than a fucking wishing rock.
She wants powers or something, so she marries this god, but then she cheats on him, and so instead of being a goddess, she turns into Cheetah. And it's actually kind of dark. She doesn't just like turn into Cheetah. She has a bloodlust for man flesh.
Oh wow. It's like straight up vampirism or whatever.
More so cannibalism.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of horrifying. But I like the personality of Barbara Ann and how like they bring her into the story. And so I think Rebirth really stresses like the friendship between Diana and Barbara because that's how they started. They were friends. No one could understand Diana because she was like speaking ancient Greek, and they bring in Barbara because she can speak ancient Greek, and it's how they kind of establish this relationship. And I thought that the movie did a really good job of establishing that friendship. It was believable. I thought both were very charming and it like made sense. Like there were times where their little like lunch date like felt a little slow paced to me, but I also thought like the substance of it, like the connections they were making were really good. And so I wanted more with that friendship, and I hate what they then did to it. Like I did really like that. Like I thought that was really promising. And I thought they had a really good dynamic as well that I liked.
And then Kristen Wiig started wearing like shoulder pads with spikes.
Yeah, she looks cool as fuck. And like I thought the transformation they did of her, you know, from her hair to getting it got lighter and it got curlier and then it got kind of scraggly, and like the makeup and the clothes, like I thought it was really cool. And I thought that even though they were doing that, they still kind of preserved this like Barbara that's like really fucking smart. She cares about being a good friend. Like she's a badass. She's gonna go and get the information she needs. And so like I thought Kristen Wiig was fantastic. I thought she was probably the best performance, in my opinion, in the movie. I thought she was really good. I think she really understood this character. I thought it was a good representation of her in the beginning. And so I was pleased with that. Everything else is fucking stupid. I was looking, my first text to Colton about Steve was, I said, why does Steve look like this? Oh, yikes. I hate this. Big yikes. Diana is not this stupid. A very lazy way to bring Chris Pine back. And then I said, also, I think Diana would have a TV. So I was right about that. She had about 20. I just kind of... I don't know. Oh, Natasha Rothwell was also good. She was like barely fucking in it, and they barely used her comedy, which was...
Who was it?
Natasha, it's not really important, but Natasha Rothwell, she played like their boss at the museum. She's great in everything she's in. She was the only good part of Sonic.
There's a lot of good parts in Sonic. I love Sonic.
No, there aren't. No, there aren't. No, that movie was fucking trash.
Did you see Knuckles? On a side note, they released the art for Knuckles. He's going to be in the second one.
There's going to be a second one?
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah, there's going to be a second one. More Dr. Eggman.
Oh, God.
Anyway, side note. Happier Days. We're talking about 1984.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of...
Did you like the, rather than replacing the conventional DC flying and hitting fists and explosions happening when I fly and I hit you, did you like the replacing that with the whip swinging, kicking sequence at the end? Or, better yet, what about Pedro Pascal dancing on the fucking, on the blue light? Oh, power! Yeah! Give me all your wishes! Yeah, I want all your wishes!
It was stupid.
It's so good! Send them to me, yeah!
I'm trying to think of like some positives that I can think of, and they're really... I don't think there are many more.
Do you think Mr. Green... John Green, do you think John Green wrote that
Jeff Johns?
shit? John Johns?
Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns. Okay, I got it. All right. All right. Speaking of the flying stuff, fucking stupid. Wonder Woman can just fly. Like, she can fly. Again, why are we trying to stay in line with what Batman v Superman did? Why do we give a shit? No, don't say something about wind and shit.
You can learn how to catch the wind and ride it.
We're sharing a microphone and I was motioning for it, and Anna could tell I was onto something. But it was not what I was actually onto. I was going to say, it's weird because they're so fixed on keeping the continuity of Wonder Woman being secret, but like, if she knows how to fly, it just breaks the continuity of both Batman v Superman and Justice League, which, like, again, begs the question of, why are we bothering? Like, just do your own thing. Like, make a movie. Like, no one cares at this point. Like, the Zack Snyder verse, I think there's like there's some sort of quote that came out from a WB exec basically calling the Zack Snyder's Justice League to be like the end of a cul-de-sac or something like that. And I'm like, I don't know why they gave this man $100 million to just go make a dead end project, but like, it's a dead end. Like, that's the end result. And here it's just like, yeah. So I mean, like, you know, Gal was cast, you know, by whoever was working on BVS. Like, fine, great. You know, the character started there, it originated there. They went on to Wonder Woman. There's like bookends with Bruce Wayne, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can make your own fucking movie. Like, it really, truly does not matter. So like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. Or, you know, like it's this sort of thing of just being like, well, she's secret, but also she can fly. And it's like, she can be out in the open and fly too. Like, you can have, like, just do your own thing. Like, people at this point truly will and do not give a fuck about that sort of thing. Like, if people want continuity, they'll go to Marvel. DC don't have to copy everything they do. Just tell good stories. And that's where they failed here. And like they just, like, I don't know. Disaster.
I do want to say, just because I did remember another thing, and got caught up in the well shit Diana and liking that. I did kind of like the invisible plane origin there. Like, I did think that was kind of fun. Like, it felt a little fan servicey, but I thought it was fun. You know, maybe have her do something that's not like, what is she? She disappears a coffee cup or something like earlier. Like, maybe have her do something bigger, like a dog. Like a dog Theo's size, you know, that feels a little more like impressive or something. But it felt kind of out of nowhere. And then I didn't like how Steve was like, fireworks? Fireworks existed when Steve was alive. Like, those existed. Those aren't new. And I thought almost that kind of like stupidity took away from like what was a really cool scene. Like, I liked how that looked, like with them in the plane. And the fireworks. I did think that scene was like pretty strong. In terms of in terms of Steve and how they brought him back, just real bad, really problematic. You could have done this without the body swap. You could have just had him up here. It's a magic stone. You have an entire plot line that is purely around like magic. Like, it's a magic fucking stone. Just have him reappear. You don't have to have him inhabit someone's body that she then has sex with. It's really problematic. Like, that's fucked up. And it's clear that this doesn't, like, when everything is over, like, it doesn't just reset everything. So, like, she still had sex with a body where, like, the person didn't consent, and that's really fucked up.
I don't think that dude really cared. I think that'd be okay.
That dude was definitely gay, so he definitely did care.
No, he's not gay.
Did you see the outfits? Did you see how he was at the end? That character was absolutely gay.
Definitely not gay.
That man is absolutely at
he
least
was totally
bisexual or
smiling
pansexual.
at Gal Gadot. He was all about it. He was hitting on her at the end.
I would smile at Gal Gadot. Anyone would smile at her. She's nice and pretty.
He was hitting on her at the end. At the Christmas IMAX sequence. That's why it was the Christmas IMAX sequence. That's it.
Oh my God.
The Christmas IMAX. Hot take.
Anyway,
I'm not gay. Christmas put that shit on IMAX. That's it.
I think there was a way to bring him back and give us that magic without it being like this kind of creepy, he's in another guy's body thing. It just too weird for me.
Well, the thing about that is this movie literally does that. It does establish that things can just appear out of nowhere and then disappear into the void yet again in the form of nuclear missiles. This movie literally sets that up as a plot point. You know, and I talked to Anna about this previously, and I was just like, oh, well, you know, the wishing stone is like, you know, there's a price to pay. Like, there's the monkey's paw that curls like whenever something happens. And I was just like, well, maybe that's what it is. It's like, you know, Chris Pine, you know, or, you know, Steve Trevor comes back, but he's in someone else's body, so he looks different, and so it's got weird rapey vibes, you know, if you have sex with them. And then I was just like, oh wait, no, she lost her powers too. Disregard all of the above. I don't know what I'm talking about. They just didn't think any of this through. Or they did, and they thought it was fine, which is arguably worse. And as Patty Jenkins has come out on Twitter, it seems like they did contemplate it, and they're just like, nah, it's fine. So, not great, Bob. Not great, Bob, is my takeaway of that particular plot point. I mean, just the plot points in general in this are just dumb. The Wishing Stone, why would you make a movie around that? I mean, I guess it could work, like, in a vacuum or something like that, but it's just dumb. It's just, like, I don't know, to me, it just was not the right thing to set a movie around, of just, not a Wonder Woman sequel anyway. I don't know, to me, it just made me groan as soon as I realized that was a plot point, and then that's not even getting into, you know, Pedro Pascal and Max Lord becoming the Wishing Stone and all that.
Which is infinitely worse than just having a movie centered around a magical stone.
Right. I think if you're going to do the magical stone, like, think it through. Have have like rules in place. Like, I think that's kind of a key part of like any story that's based on magic or fantasy is like, even though it's this other world, there are still rules, and like those rules mean something. And here they fucking didn't. Like with Max Lord, why can't he? Why can't he? Did I get his name wrong?
No, it's just it continues.
It's gonna be like that'd be pretty pathetic since the whole fucking movie was about him. So I think with the whole he needs to get their wishes to get his health. Okay, why does he have to be half dead to do that? Why does he need the president? Like, why can't he do that sooner and have his health restored? And if it's not enough, why not do that and show that to us? But like, he's got to have his bloody eye for 2 scenes.
The real answer is life is good, but it could be better.
If you ever do that again, I'll break up with you. I would like to Andrew.
That's the thing from the movie.
Oh, I thought he was saying thumbs up to me breaking up with you.
No,
there's a scene. I think it's when he's in the museum when he's first interacting with Barbara. Right. Yeah. So he's just kind of duplicating. He's mimicking that. But yeah, just the guy walks past. He just gives him a big old thumbs up and just keeps on trucking. Awesome. Just awesome.
I would like to give an alternate option for the third act, because there's so much wrong with it, and I'm sure we all have things to vent about it. But I think, first of all, let Barbara be the fucking villain. Let Cheetah be the number 1 villain. One of the worst fucking casting decisions in this movie was the guy they cast to play Reagan. What the fuck was wrong with that man's face? Why did he think
Ronald Reagan?
Well, yeah, he's playing the president. I mean, right?
I guess 1984. Okay. Yeah.
So, like, I just, what was wrong with that man's face? Just the weirdest things he did with it. Acting like I'm 800 feet away and I got to be able to see what he's doing with his face. Just, sir, stop. Just chill out. Like, take it down. You're at like a 14. Take it down to like a 6, please. Everything that happened after, I don't actually know if this is at like the third, but everything after Max arrives at the White House.
Oh, this is after Hi-Ho Silver. Don't you wish that all the cars moved out of your way? You're driving down the road, split like the Red Sea. All I can see is Bruce Almighty. Hi-Ho Silver away! The cars.
Oh my god.
Don't you wish for that?
Yeah, I guess that was pretty bad too. Honestly, everything with Max Lord was like pretty bad.
His son.
His
son coming out of the woods at the end.
That man's got a talent. I just, everything with Max Lord, like, I get it. You want this over-the-top 80s-esque villain. I'm fine with that. And I think Pedro played desperation and, like, I think he did it well. Like, he did it well. However, this turned into a movie about a mediocre man. And it should not. It should be about an amazing woman. So that pisses me off. I think you can fix it by not, like, it's almost as if they knew, like, everyone loves him, the Mandalorian, gotta focus. No. Kristen Wiig was the best part of this movie. They should have let her be the main villain. I think there's a way to fix it where when he walks in and says to the president, you know, like, maybe you have an earlier scene where you show him trying to get his health back and it's not enough and he knows he needs more power and influence. He knows he needs more, like, be healthy. And maybe, like, have some scene that shows that he wants to be healthy for his son because he wants to be a better father now that he has the resources to do so. Not just, oh, God, it's my weekend. I don't want to deal with this little shit again. And, you know, fine. Set that up. Have him go to the president. And then when the president starts to say, I want all these nukes, have him be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Give me my hands back. I'm not granting that wish. Let's slow down. This is wrong. Or have him accidentally fulfill the wish and be like, oh shit, I went too far. I want to fix this. What do I do? Wonder Woman, help me. And then have Cheetah step in and say, no, you're not helping her. Like, it would fit more with who Max Lord is. It would fit more with, like, having Cheetah be the main villain and having her actually, instead of just, they make her his fucking lackey. And I hate that. Cheetah can be a badass villain and Diana's friend on her own. They didn't have to make her some fucking pawn of Max Lord. It's just lazy and it's not as good of a story. And it just creates this fucking stupid end. I like you said, the blue light dancing. What nonsense. What nonsense. And it all is supposed to come down to like this guy and his love of his son, who, by the way, is he has about as much personality as a rock. There are lots of cute, charismatic, funny kids out there who you give a shit about. I didn't give a shit about this kid at all. I was like, I hope a nuke hits him. So if you're gonna make it all about this guy and his son, cast someone, like, have his son have more of a role where we actually like him. We get one scene with him.
And it
like,
amounts to
so
nothing,
quiet.
too. He wished for his dad's greatness, and nothing ever comes of that.
Exactly. This is true. Exactly. Maybe you have like almost like a flashback to that, and like that's why things end up being okay. I don't know. But this idea that it all comes down to this mediocre man who doesn't give a shit about what happens to other people, and like him having a relationship with his son that he's shown no care for at all the entire movie. Are you fucking kidding me? How stupid. How fucking stupid. It made it into a movie about Max Lord. It made him an annoying character. Diana's fucking useless. The lasso isn't just the lasso of truth. Like, Hestia's lasso is the perfect. It's supposed to restore people to like their most true form. It doesn't just make people tell the truth. It shows the truth. And she even talks about that. Like, she can show with it. So if she wraps it around someone who's following the whims of the wishing stone, it should restore them to sanity. So it just this movie is a fundamental misunderstanding of both Wonder Woman and humanity. This idea that everyone's gonna like take back their wish, fucking stupid. You have it that Max revokes his wish, and if he revokes his, then he never becomes a stone and everybody else's go away. But to have everybody, I revoke my wish, so fucking stupid. Stupid and lazy and doesn't fit with like how people actually are, and you didn't need it.
Well, they did it because they were looking at the lasso through the TV screen.
Yes,
and
but again,
it touched everything, which is the reason why he wanted it so bad.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the lasso of truth is about the truth. Some people see the truth right in front of their fucking faces, and they don't care. I mean, look at our entire system right now. That shows that people who look at, like, there's suffering, there's something I could do to help, and there are people who do not give a shit, and they do whatever they want. So this idea that people would see the lasso and see the truth and suddenly act with a conscience, it's stupid, and it's not realistic.
Oh, I see what you're saying
like,
now. Okay.
It's stupid. Like, yes, you want to have Diana believe the best in humanity, but like that doesn't mean that all of humanity is like perfect by her example. That's fucking stupid. And it doesn't make any sense. And I hate that they like didn't give us some form of closure with Cheetah. I hate that once again it turned into, oh, how sad, her man is leaving her. And it became like the climax of the movie, the resolution was this fucking idiot and his dumbass son.
Also,
who just was wandering around the freeways and made his way to the White House grounds.
That's pretty ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous and stupid, and it just felt really lazy to me, and I thought there was the potential for so much more, and they fucked it up so bad.
I just want to know, in what world, when you're behind the camera and you see Pedro acting the way he is on top of that blue light, like, do you think Pedro's like, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think I should be dancing on this blue light like this. I think maybe we could do something else. No, Pedro, ham it up. I want you to dance on that blue light and just act like Tom Cruise on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Just stand up there and just fucking get it. Get it? Unlimited power.
Unlimited power.
That's it. It's absurd. What else was there? I have other thoughts. Colton, you haven't talked in a while. You go.
I was just gonna say, and more in response to what he was channeling, to also just call back to my earlier thought. It was just Patty on set being like, "You ever seen Batman Forever? Remember remember Tommy Lee Jones in that? Remember Jim Carrey in that? Yeah, I remember that. Do them both at the same time."
That's what we want to. That's what we want to see. And if that's the case, damn you, Patty Jenkins. Why do you do this to us?
I just. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Anna hit a lot of the same points that I would want to make. She also preempted my joke. I was at one point going to say, let's talk about the main character of this film, Max Lord. So anyway, that joke's been preempted, but I figured I might as well put it on the record anyway. Yeah, third act's just bad. It's just dumb. It's over the top. It's like, it's literally World War III.
I got a question, Anna. You're up on the comics.
Like, no.
Don't mean to block you out. I have these word vomits.
Go for it.
So she has this badass fucking winged armor that was created for her to to take on the world. She can take on the entire world with this armor.
Asteria could, yeah.
And the armor literally gets picked apart by Cheetah within 3 minutes.
Yeah, a couple important things here. Number one, I mean, it's interesting because I thought initially that it was implied that, they gave it to her so that she could buy them time. I thought, Asteria's dead. She was killed because she's holding back everyone else so that they can escape to safety on the island. Obviously, she's not. Also, just mythologically speaking, that's not who Asteria was, so that was kind of stupid. But... honestly, the way I kind of looked at it was that was to protect them against men, and men are weak and stupid, and Cheetah is a badass lady who's smarter than everyone else, and she has superpowers. And
she's an apex predator, so don't forget about that.
It's just so fucking stupid. I mean, really, they looked at what happened to cats a year ago and were like, yeah, let's do that for Cheetah.
Right?
What? Come on. They made her a fucking snow leopard. What the hell? What the hell? There was a way to do that. And I didn't even hate it as much as I thought I would because I had low expectations. But it's just fucking stupid.
But why doesn't Diana get electrocuted?
Because she is the daughter of Zeus, so I think she's good with lightning and electricity and stuff. That was what I took.
Oh, okay, okay. I guess that makes sense.
That was
now.
how I saw it.
That was a big thing. It's why didn't she give it
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I have one more main point that I want to make, but before I get to that, I want to read you my stream of text that I sent at the end of the movie, and it was, the Christmas scene. And I said, wasn't it just July? Because it was the 4th of July. So I don't know. And then Colton said, quote, "I've seen your penis. You don't remember, but it's totally fine." That's Diana talking to the guy at Christmas. It's weird. It's weird. Quote, "My hot boyfriend hijacked your body for a bit. It's totally cool, bro." And I said, "Wow, I don't want this at all." Quote, "See you around." Bitch, when you're in DC and you see a stranger, see you around when the proper thing you would say is you'd be like, "Merry Christmas, happy holidays, see, bye, see ya, see you around." No, you won't. No, you're no. I said, fuck this shit. Where is Barbara? They're supposed to be friends. What is this dumb balloon thing? Quote, "So many things." I think that might have been the dumbest line. The second dumbest line was "Only you can save the day," or whatever the fuck she said to Max Lord. But I think the next the dumbest line of the whole movie was, quote, "So many things."
When did they say so many things? I don't even remember that.
That's what Diana says at the end. Ugh. And then I said, were they fucking high when they wrote this half of the movie? And then I said, these credits are so fucking ugly. Which is true. And that brings me to thinking about the first movie, the first credits, the like great things about the first movie. And one of the best things I thought, which I already touched on about the first movie, was the score.
Yeah. I told Colton about that.
Fucking score in the first one.
Wonder Woman's theme when she kicks ass. That I don't know
Correct.
that whatever that is. I don't know what song it is.
It's part. I mean, a lot of it's within No Man's Land.
That's probably
but
exactly
it's typically considered Wonder Woman's theme. That first soundtrack, that first score is fucking excellent. It's so good. It's good enough that you just want to listen to it. Like I said, it hyped me up for walking into the LSATs. It clearly hyped me up well enough that I did well enough on the test to get a full ride to 3 different law schools. Like, that's the only. It's not my GPA, I promise that. Like, it was my LSAT score. That score was fucking great. The musical score, not my score, was like whatever. But that musical score is great. Rupert Gregson Williams. Yes, Rupert Gregson Williams did a great job. It was so fucking good. Hans Zimmer needs to fucking retire, bitch. I'm so done with his shit. You do 1 or 2 iconic scores. Like, yes, he did a great job with Lion King. He did a great job with fucking Gladiator. He did his best work, honestly, is Pirates of the Caribbean, in my opinion.
I think it's Mission Impossible too.
I don't know if that's sarcastic or not. Oh boy. But like, what was this shit? This was nothing. And I read an article that was like, oh yeah, Hans took over because so much of this is Wonder Woman's theme that he created for Batman v Superman. Well, first of all, we've seen that Rupert Gregson Williams can do it as he did in the first Wonder Woman. It was great. Why do we need Hans to come in? And also, like, he barely used Wonder Woman's theme. Like, this was trash. This was trash. And I know Colton's going to talk about the song in the flying scene because I didn't recognize it, and I know he did. But my theory is that everybody fucking loved No Man's Land. Hans Zimmer got jealous of his little protege who had, you know, come up from fucking Adam Sandler movies and created this great score and a couple other great scores, and he was jealous of his success. So he said, okay, I'll do that. And I don't think I have the article open anymore, but we had talked about like the last few scores he'd done, which were all terrible. And unfortunately, the next few scores are like movies I was looking forward to, like Dune and the Top Gun sequel and something else that I can't remember now. But I have a feeling that he was so fucking focused on those that he was like, oh yeah, Wonder Woman, whatever, 1984, yeah, whatever. Because it was the laziest fucking score I've ever heard, and it was not good.
Yeah, I mean, Anna teed it up, so I suppose I need to follow up on it. I had kind of forgotten about it, to be honest, until she said something about it. And it kind of brings me, I guess, I'm pretty content to just offer a few final thoughts on my end, and then everyone else can offer up what they want for spoilers. But for my final thoughts in terms of spoilers, to be positive about certain things, there are moments in this film that I liked. I said that before, and I stand by it. And the moments that I liked, I enjoyed the invisible jet. I thought it was a fun Wonder Woman-y kind of thing to do. You know, a bit of an ass pull in terms of like, oh yeah, I have this ability. I did it on a coffee cup. Let's see if it works on a jet. Like, oh, okay, all right. You know, fine. It's cute. Whatever. I don't mind it. And I think the scene where she learns to fly, I think is good. You know, I mean, I think the mechanics of it, of, you know, Chris Pine being like, it's wind and it's air and shit, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. It's dumb. You get voiceover. It's just hammy, much like the rest of this movie is, to be fair. And, like, he didn't need it. Like, that moment is impactful alone, or should be impactful alone, you know, left alone, I guess. But Hans Zimmer, I stand by this statement, too. I think he's a lazy composer these days. I think he's kind of resting on his laurels. Like, he can put the work in, you know, and I think, like, his Dunkirks, like, show off a different flair than his usual kind of shtick, you know, and I find that he just tends to rehash a lot of his previous work these days. I think once upon a time he was a great composer, and I think he's still a good one and capable of being a good one. And, you know, like I said, you better not screw the pooch on Dune, or we're gonna be pissed about it. Let's put it that way.
I think it's like any, especially with music. I think you have to find the inspiration. I think if you look at a movie much like this fucking Wonder Woman, how are you inspired to fucking make music for this piece of shit?
And I think there's probably a reason he passed on the first one. Like, he probably didn't give a single fuck about Wonder Woman, which, like, fine, fuck you, you're an idiot, but, like, fine, go away. But I'm pretty sure, like, Gregson Williams wasn't, like, too busy doing, like, Happy Gilmore movies. Like, he could have stepped in, and it really does feel like Hans Zimmer was like, well, it's my theme, I want to do it, meh, meh, meh.
Right.
Fuck you, Hans Zimmer.
He's pretty shitty.
My biggest strike against Hans Zimmer with this movie is, like, for one of the most impactful scenes of Wonder Woman taking flight for the first time, he literally just took the score from another better movie, a significantly better movie at that. I mean, you know, and like, it's not that, like, I'm sure it's credited in the credits. It's not like you think he's just straight up stole it and, like, hoped he'd get away with it or anything like that. But it's just lazy. It's just like it's Adagio in D minor is the name of the track. It's from Sunshine. Danny Boyle's Sunshine, which is a good film. I mean, that has its third act woes in and of itself, if we want to talk about third act woes. But
spectacular movie, though, one of the best.
Great
I love
movie,
that movie. Really
visually stunning movie, and the particular moment where that track plays is one of the most impactful things in that movie. It's beautiful, and that track has been used in like a million things. It's not that it's been used in Sunshine and it's like, it's kind of a deep cut, let's pull it out for this movie. People won't really make the connection, whatever. It's, you know, it's a, I mean, I guess there's a little bit of symmetry in terms of like kind of what's happening, but it's like, dude, you're fucking Hans Zimmer. Like, you got it in there somewhere. Like, even if it's just the, like, that would have been fine. Yeah. Like, you know, like, like you didn't need to just crib something from a better movie with a better score, because it was like a temp track, and it's like, shit, I don't have time to do anything better. Like, let's just leave it in. Okay, you know. And I don't know. To me, it's just
you know,
a baffling thing.
Do you know what Hans Zimmer did?
What did he do?
He showed it for a paycheck.
Well, that may be very true. Yeah,
I agree with that one. Yes, that's all he did. Yes, yeah. Like I said, fuck you, Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer showed it for a paycheck.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's really all I have on spoilers. Is good moments. I like the flight. I like the jet. Some, you know, the rest of it's kind of fine. The third act is just absolute garbage. It's just nonsensical garbage that it's too much for its own good. Like it's just chaos in a bad way, and it doesn't make sense. You know, it folds in within itself because it got so big, and it didn't need to get that big. There's a way to make a smaller scale, basically what Anna proposed, of a smaller scale personal conflict between Diana and Barbara that makes way more sense, and it means that you don't have to deal with dumb shit, President fake Reagan being an idiot, looking like an idiot, that sort of thing. You don't have to deal with nukes literally launching and people like, oh my god, nukes, blah, 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 you know, and disappearing and stuff. And it's just...
Which is the ending of the first movie.
It's just dumb. All of it's just dumb. It's real dumb. I don't like it. That's what I say. So anyway, that's what I got. Spoilers for Wonder Woman 1984.
I'm good for spoilers. I mean, I've said my piece. I don't need to continue on. I'm good.
All right. Final thoughts for you, Anna?
I just want more Barbara. I just want more Cheetah. I felt like she was the highlight for me. Which really she shouldn't be, because Wonder Woman should be the highlight, but I felt like just give me more Cheetah and no more Max Lord and his dumb kid. If that kid was smart, he just would have gone off into the woods and lived there, far away from his piece of shit.
He does have his father's greatness, though. So, I mean, maybe it could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy,
his father's going to prison.
Daddy, I just want your greatness.
It was a weird consequences-less sort of ending. Like, we don't know what happened with Max, and we don't know what happened with Barbara. Yeah. Very bizarre, like almost like scenes were cut or something. Like, that is a good point. That's very bizarre. But anyway, that's my actual final thought. But it is not my final thought on Wonder Woman for this episode, because we're getting more of it. Oh, with surprise news for everyone. Wonder Woman 3 is in the works. It's being fast-tracked into development by Warner Brothers. Gal Gadot's back, and guess who's back on board to write and direct? It's Patty Jenkins. Everyone celebrate and panic for Rogue Squadron.
What about Greg? Fucking John Johns.
No word on John. Whether Jeff Johns, whether he's going. I was continuing the joke. No word on whether he's back. It's just Patty Jenkins that they've clearly talked to, and look.
Well, Patty Jenkins seems pretty hyped on the Star Wars front, so I don't,
Yeah.
And maybe pump the brakes a little bit on Wonder Woman and let inspiration take the wheel for the Wonder Woman thing of the third movie.
I think there are like a lot of filmmakers who are like, I'll make another one if I get a good enough idea. And I think there's tons of ideas for Wonder Woman of really good options. I think it would have been better if there was like a thought process of making the second connect with the third, which there clearly fucking wasn't. But just as a point on Jeff Johns, because I think that a lot of people will look at this and think if there's bad writing, it's like, oh, it's because he does comic books. And it's because he's so used to comic book writing that, whatever happened here, fine. Maybe it is. But I think you can have a comic book writer come on and write this. And I would like to pitch right now that Greg Rucka comes in and co-writes with Patty Jenkins. Or how about a woman who has written for Wonder Woman, who knows this character? Because I think Jeff Johns has shown that he doesn't fucking know the character of Wonder Woman. I think Greg Rucka, despite the unfortunate reality that he is a man, it's a bummer. But despite this, he really does understand and like get the character of Wonder Woman. I think Greg Rucka's work with Wonder Woman is some of the best. I think Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman stuff is great. And I really like Greg Rucka generally. So I think if you're going to bring in a comic book writer to help with this, you have to bring in someone who actually fucking understands the character. So fuck John Jones, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that ought to do it for our coverage of Wonder Woman 1984. Not what we hoped it would be.
I think that is the best review from a total shit. Like, we shit on the movie for like 2.5 hours or whatever we've been doing. Yeah. But it has the most positive, like, legitimate review of a fine movie. It's totally fine. It's not even totally fine. It's fine.
Yeah, not even totally fine. Not even.
But we shit on it for 2.5 hours, hardcore. So. Yeah.
I just hope that eventually someone gives me a supercut of all of the Kristen Wiig scenes, and I'll just watch those, and I'll be fine. Truly thought she was going to be the worst part of it. I really did. She was my favorite part, though.
My favorite part was the ending. Oh, got him. Oh.
Well, it was better than Raised by Wolves, I can tell you that.
Talk about that. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care, but, like, fine, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, we're done with it. We got to move on. Andrew, what you been up to?
Okay, so I'll tell you exactly what I've been up to. I've been pumped about it.
He's ready. He's ready for this.
I have. So we did like this grid thing on the bedroom door or on the bedroom wall, and it's been project after project after project in the garage. So I haven't been able to do anything in the garage. I told Sarah I'm not cutting any more wood until I'm done, and until I have a facility in place in the garage to where I'm not cutting wood on the floor. I'm done acting like a savage. I'm cutting wood on a fucking workbench. So Sarah's dad came over, we did some stuff, and I rearranged the garage. It's completely organized. It's ready to have a workbench made and a work table made, and those are my first two projects of the year. Yay. So that's ready to go. I also went to Blue Ridge, rode the dirt bike. I climbed I didn't climb a mountain. I hiked. I was about to say I climbed a mountain. I didn't climb a mountain. I hiked up a fucking
backtrack was impressive.
Yeah, I had to pump the brakes real quick. It felt like a mountain. It was like a couple 100 foot up. But we spotted a waterfall on a previous day, riding the dirt bikes and stuff, and I came back a couple days later with Sarah, and we climbed up it and got above it, and it was pretty cool. That was pretty neat. And celebrated New Year's with the family, and I think that might be it. Watched Soul. I did watch Soul.
Oh, I did too. Oh, you guys watched it together, didn't you?
Yes. Did you watched it too?
I did. I watched it. Oh God, what's today? Today's Sunday. I'm so confused.
Today's
Friday.
Sunday.
I watched
it.
Yes, I watched it on Friday with my parents. They are notoriously disinterested in watching movies.
Right.
I feel like I have to pull teeth, but I got them to watch a movie with me like 4 days in a row.
Nice.
And the last one we watched was Soul. My parents both are really into jazz. They both really love jazz.
Yeah.
Jazz festivals. They watch like every Saturday this like jazz musician they like. He does like a Facebook Live concert and stuff. So they were really hyped for it. So my parents and I also watched Soul.
Which, unlike Wonder Woman, was absolutely spectacular. That was a spectacular film.
Well, maybe save some thoughts. We might cover it on a little podcast here.
I'll pump the brakes. It was totally good. Just listen.
But it was good. Yes. I mean, we can certainly flag it up front. It will not be a repeat of this episode if indeed we do cover it for our next episode, which we plan to do. So.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that later. So I watched that. I did watch. Sarah started. So Sarah follows this lady on Instagram, and the lady is she does like these house projects and stuff, and she recommended she's the influencer lady on the Instagram said that she watched Queen's Gambit.
And now Sarah's watching it?
And now Sarah wants to watch it. I'm like, yes! Awesome! Can't believe
We're gonna watch it this week.
Oh, good for you guys. I'm really excited to watch it for a second time. I watched the first episode last night. Sarah seems to be about it. So
nice.
I've seen it, like I said, I've seen it once, and I thought it was absolutely incredible. I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm excited to watch it again. And so that's something that we're moving through on. And what's another thing? Is there another thing? Oh, I started Cobra Kai. I watched I think 3 or 4 episodes last night of Cobra Kai season 3, which is really good. I like that too. So yeah.
Did you watch any Christmas movies?
So we went to a drive-in, which was my first ever drive-in. I think I talked about it a couple weeks back on the podcast. But but to bring you up to speed, I went to the drive-in for the first time ever. Sarah planned it for a date night. And we went to Ybor City, or not Ybor. We went to, it was like downtown Tampa. It's called gosh, I can't remember what it's called now. But we watched Elf, and I haven't seen Elf in forever. And I laughed my ass off. It was so good.
Oh, that's so fun.
And it was
that's awesome.
We brought some beers and stuff, and we packed them in a cooler, and we brought she cooked dinner and put it in like Tupperwares.
Oh,
it was
cute.
It was an outstanding date night. It was the best.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, we did a couple drive-ins. Yeah,
you guys saw Grease, right?
We did. We saw that was in the summer. I think that's when we were up in August, and we went with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was your first time on a drive-in? Oh, yeah. So there's a drive-in up by our camp in Vermont, so I've been lots of times. I think that's the only drive-in I've ever been to. But really fun spot. I went a couple times in college with friends, too, because I went to school up there. And we went and saw Grease with my friend Isora. And that was really fun because Grease has a scene in it where they're at the drive-in.
Yeah.
So it was like very meta. But then we also saw Tenet there in...
Couldn't hear anything.
October. I mean, one of the nice things was because we were in the car, it's like, insulated or whatever, and we could turn it up however high we wanted. But yeah, we still couldn't really hear much of the dialogue.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
But that's really cute. I'm so glad you got to go. That's really fun.
Yeah.
And, I feel like the drive-ins, like, it's like, obviously you're not in like, it's not high tech. It's not, but it's still like really fun. And like, I think the experience of it is so fun.
It's a really good way to watch a movie.
Yeah, it's a fun way to, especially right now, like to still get to watch a movie on a big screen, but do it safely that's awesome. That's a fun date night.
Other Christmas movies I watched was, I really, really, really wanted to watch Chevy Chase Christmas Vacation. And I never got a chance to watch it this year. I think we watched Home Alone. Watched at least a portion of it before I fell asleep, but Home Alone's fucking awesome. I love Home Alone. And I think that's about it, really. We didn't watch a whole lot of Christmas movies. We listened to a lot of music, though, so that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. I watched a lot of Christmas movies. I fucking love Christmas. So I watched a lot. I have kind of a set list of things I do every year, but then I also have like try to watch some new ones. So I watched, the way I kind of always started off is I watch Miracle, which is not actually a Christmas movie, but it has a really fun Christmas scene in it.
That's the hockey movie, yeah?
Yes. It's also just a really excellent movie. It's really, really fucking good. I kind of, as we were watching it this year, I was like, oh, this is definitely like in my top 10 favorite movies. I love this movie. I think even if you don't know hockey or don't even really like hockey, I think it's still like a really great movie. I think it's just a great movie. And it has a great Christmas scene, which I think is worth watching. And so that's always kind of how I kick it off. But then I watched the Beauty and the Beast, Belle's Enchanted Christmas. I did that with the Disney Watch Party function with a friend of mine, Jale. She and I have done a few of those since COVID started. We watched 101 Dalmatians. We watched Maleficent 2. We watched something else. Oh, Phantom of the Megaplex. We've kind of taken on a holiday theme now. And we've done a few of them. We even before Disney like set up the Disney Plus watch party thing, but it was really fun. And I also did one of those with my friend Emily.
What is the Disney Plus watch
party? So it's really cool. As long as you have an account. And so like I actually share my Disney Plus account with both Jale and with Emily. So we just have different, users within Disney Plus. But you don't have to do it with people who are on the same account. You can do it with anyone who has a Disney Plus account, and you just go in and you like start a watch party with a certain movie or show or whatever. And then you go on your phone to the app and it gives you the option to invite friends, and then you send it to them. And they can join it. Okay. And even if they just join it on their phone and then do it on like their Fire Stick, they can join it. It's really fun. There's like a little option for sending like emojis and like reactions. But what I did with both of them is I just set up like a Zoom or a FaceTime. And while we watched, and so like I would hit play and it would play on their TVs too.
Oh, so you control the feed.
Either of us could. So we could pause it, whatever.
Okay,
but like
cool. That
way we're watching it perfectly in sync. And it's just really fun because it really feels like you're watching it with them. And I had a lot of fun with that. And Jolly and I have been doing that for a while, like I said. And it's been really fun because I miss her. And she's been in Baltimore. And it's just been like a good way for us to stay connected. And I highly recommend it because it is really fun to have like movie nights with friends.
Shit, we could have been doing that the whole Mando time. That'd have been fucking cool.
You guys should sometime. Like it is really, I think it's really fun. And it's gone really smoothly pretty much every time I've done it. So I watched those Christmas movies. I also watched like the new Vanessa Hudgens one, which was like delightfully terrible. It was really fun. But then I also watched, what else did I watch? Let's see. We watched the animated Grinch, the classic one, not the new one, because that's fucking terrible. We watched Rudolph. We watched the Santa Claus. We watched the Santa Claus 2, which are all excellent. We watched... I feel like I'm missing some.
I watched those for the first... I think... Or not for the first time, but the first time in a very, very long time. The one where Tim the Toolman Taylor has the wooden robot clone of himself trying to do the Christmas
that's
stuff.
Santa Claus 2. Yeah.
Yeah, we watched that.
I think that one's really good. I think the third one's really bad. I didn't like the third one, but I think the first two are both really good. Like I thought that was a really good sequel.
Yeah, that did seem like a pretty okay Christmas movie. When I was watching it over Sarah's grandma's house, so I couldn't hear a whole lot or whatever, but it was entertaining enough.
Yeah. We also, my parents and I also watched Jingle Jangle, which is the new Netflix one. And it was pretty good. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
It was cute.
That's the one with the I can't remember who's in it.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yes. He's a toy maker.
Michael brain work. Key.
Keegan-Michael Key?
I think I said Keegan-Michael Keeg, and I was like, no, it's Key. Yeah, and someone else is in it. Oh, Anika Noni Rose is in it. Felicia Rashad is in it. She was also great in Soul. She's
totally okay.
Crushing it. But it was good. It was the music was cute, done by John Legend and a couple other people. It wasn't super Christmassy. Like I wanted there to be more Christmas stuff in it, and it very much felt like a kind of play on like the classic like Nutcracker story. But I thought it was good. And then we watched Klaus.
Yes, the animated one.
It's so fucking good.
I know. Well, I don't know because I haven't watched it yet. But
you gotta watch. I mean, it's really good. I was really surprised. I remember like coming out last year and being like, I don't really care. And then it got nominated for an Oscar, and I was like, what the hell? And I saw some of like the images from it, and I was like, I really don't care. I don't want to watch this. And then I think it was after I'd watched the Vanessa Hudgens movie, it like kicked into a trailer for Klaus. And I was like, wait, this looks really good. Like, there's this whole scene. And I think the thing that really got me is there's a scene where, like, the guy who's, like, Santa, like, is laughing. And it's like, ho, ho, ho. And the other guy's like, wait, that's how you laugh? Like, and it just, I don't know. It just was really cute. And I thought it was really good. I actually really liked it.
I've been wanting to watch that. Well, I had been wanting to watch that for the entire December. I've been like, Sarah, come on, let's just watch this movie. She's like, I don't want to watch that. I was like, I really had no interest in it, and then it was really good and it was really cute. So I do highlight. I don't think it's that long either. I do recommend it, and I might be looking at it more kindly because I had such low expectations. But I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I'll tell Sarah you recommend it. Maybe we'll watch it.
Yeah, I thought it was cute.
Maybe we'll watch it next December. Should say. Don't watch Christmas movies outside of December.
Yeah. But then we also watched. Sorry, there's a lot of Christmas movies. I watch It's a Wonderful Life every year because I love that movie. Definitely also in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. My dad and I really love that movie. So we watched it. It's great. It's always great. And then we watched Love Actually before.
That's with the rock star who shows his penis on TV.
Yes.
I remember that. Okay.
Colton had never seen, or you had never seen it. Colton had never seen it.
It's a good one. I like it
somehow. And yeah, I think it's really cute. I think it's like overhyped a little bit, but I think it's a perfectly good, like cute rom-com. Like I feels festive. I think it. I think we talked about like there are some storylines that are weaker than others. There are some that you're just like, this doesn't need to be in here. But I think also Emma Thompson is just fucking fantastic in it. Your favorite, Emma Thompson. Not Tessa Thompson, but Emma Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally fine. She's great. I like that movie.
Yeah. I like that movie, too. Other than Christmas movies, let's see. I did, right before Christmas, I finished The Crown Season 4. I think you guys talked about that a little earlier. It is a great show. I get really sucked in. It's interesting because I think there's some stuff that makes me go like look at Wikipedia and find out like what really happened and
that's fun.
Interesting, but the performances are really great and it's just very like
what is the premise of The Crown? Sell me on The Crown. I'd be down to watch something like The Crown.
Yeah, so The Crown is the premise is essentially like the reign of Elizabeth II, who is the current Queen of England. And it really starts with her becoming heir to the throne, which she was never supposed to be because her uncle was king. Her dad was not supposed to be king. Her uncle was king. And he wanted to marry an American woman who had been divorced and her husband was still alive. And this was really frowned upon back then. And so he abdicated. So Elizabeth's father became king. And then when he died, she became queen really, really young. And so this
is the current Queen of England.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So the way they set it up is it's going to be a 6-season show. The 4th season just finished. For the first 2 seasons, there's one cast. And then as they get older, they recast it. So like the show starts in like the 30s, I guess. Probably the 30s, somewhere around there. When she's like real young, and then it kind of flashes forward, and then she's crowned and all of that. And then like where I just got up to, like season 4 ends, I think in like the early 90s, maybe, or maybe right around 1990. So this past season was really good because it showed like the marriage of Charles and Princess Diana. And it was really excellent and just interesting. Yeah, so there'll be 2 more seasons of that. It's a good show. There's definitely like some slow burn aspects of it, but it is really good. The performances are great.
Is it historically accurate?
Some parts of it. Others are totally imagined. Like they just kind of had to, to make the story work, to make the plot points fit. There is some stuff that's based on true events that they do a pretty good job of showing what happened. And so I feel like I learned a lot from that. And like I said, then it just like makes you go look at Wikipedia to like see what really happened. And
right.
But I thought it was really good. TV, I've also just been watching Love It or List It. I think I'm almost done with season 3. I also, reading, like I said, I've been reading Wonder Woman Rebirth and that other Wonder Woman book. It's really good. I also read a book, like a Christmas book called A Wild Winter Swan by Gregory Maguire, and he's the guy who wrote Wicked. And he's actually from like near my hometown. So I have like signed books from him and stuff like that. And
that's cool.
Yeah, his books are really like weird, but good. So I really liked it. Yeah, I think I mentioned kind of offhand, but my parents and I watched 4 movies 4 nights in a row, which has never happened in my life ever. So that was cool. And we watched Frozen, followed by Frozen 2, and then The Trial of Chicago 7, and then Soul. I really love Frozen 2. Like I'm a stan at this point for Frozen 2. I think it's better than the first one. I think it's so fucking good. I love Frozen 2 so much. My parents hadn't seen it, so I got them to watch it, and they didn't love it as much as I did, which was disappointing. But I think it's a great movie, and if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's better than the first. I know you guys... Did you guys cover Trial of the Chicago 7? You did. I'm sorry. I should probably...
What did you think about that shit?
I fucking loved it. It was infuriating.
Yes.
And frustrating, but timely, and I thought it was... Contempt. I thought it was so fucking good. That right now is my pick for like best picture. I thought it was so fucking good. The writing was fantastic. The story's compelling. The performances were great. Sacha Baron Cohen, he's the one I really can't stop thinking about. He was so good. He was so fucking good. Yeah, I thought that movie was excellent.
Yeah, so did I. I recommend it to everybody. Recommend it to customers at the car lot.
It's such a good movie. And it's on Netflix. Everybody can watch it. Like,
that's it. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. So
really great movie.
Did your parents like that one?
Yeah, they loved it. They thought it was really good. Yeah, that was we watched that on New Year's Eve actually, and it was kind of funny. We took a break to just like get more to drink, and then we realized like, oh, it's 11:50. I guess we should pause it and like turn on like the NBC or something, like ring in, and then like it was like, oh, Happy New Year. All right, can we put it back on? We can put it back. Like, we had to watch the last 45 minutes. We're like, all right, let's put it back on. Come on. Who cares? 2021, great, cool, awesome. Put the movie back on, which was great, I thought. So yeah, my break so far, I feel like I've watched a lot, which has been fun. Trying to pick up on my reading. I just got some books. So I'm finally picking back up the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Black Spire Outpost book, which I'm really psyched about because I had started reading like the first 50 pages, then I had to return it, and I got it again. And so it's like kind of the backstory for like the theme park.
Yeah, so, there's an I got an Oculus headset for Christmas, and there's an Oculus game in there. I was
reading a review for that game. It looks really fucking cool, and all that stuff like Black Spire Outpost and Batu and stuff is also because I got the Sims expansion pack that lets me go there.
Wow!
And it was really cool. So I like create a house, and, like get my outfits, and then I can go there and like. It like join the resistance and all of that stuff. But if you want to know like the background for it, this book gives the background of how like the resistance and the First Order end up there.
Oh.
So I'm reading that, and then the third Thrawn book finally.
Is the third? I think I've already read the third Thrawn book. I think
you might have. Yeah, this is Thrawn Treason.
Yes, I've listened to it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I thought there was another one out.
No, so because I know the prequel trilogy is also happening, so I haven't read any of that. And that the first two, or just the first one? Just the first one of that, Thrawn Ascendancy. So I'll read that next, but I got to finish up the first one. I kind of had to remember what happened in Thrawn Alliances with like the, which also actually Thrawn Alliances features Batu as well, because Anakin and Thrawn go there because that's where they first follow Padme to.
Yes, I remember that. Yes, and that's where they find the. That's where they. Yeah. Okay.
And that's where there's like the public, like the body.
Yeah, the explosion, like they were shuttling a body off of the thing. Yes, I remember that.
So,
those are badass books. I love Thrawn. I like the Thrawn books.
Yeah, I think they're really good. I've really enjoyed them so far. So.
And the voice actor they have that does Thrawn. Oh, he's so good. Yes.
I haven't listened to any of the audiobooks, but maybe I should.
I think the audiobooks are really good, but
I should look into that.
I don't read it all, so that's the only perspective I have. I don't know how to read.
You're still getting the story. You're still listening to the writing, like still getting it. But sorry, I've done a lot, so I hadn't. It's been a while since I was on, so I feel like I had to fill in. So yeah, I think I've talked long enough about all the things I've done, but Colton, what have you been up to? Obviously, I kind of stole your thunder on a few of those things, like Love Actually, but what else have you been up to, especially in Florida?
Joke's on you. I talked about it on the last episode.
Okay, great. You're done then. All right, Colton's done. Just kidding. What else have you done?
Well, for the sake of brevity, since we talked about Wonder Woman for a while, and because I drove 17 hours in the past 2 days, and we're getting it's getting late here. My brain might be a little frazzled. Christmas happened. Christmas was good. It was a very Wonder Woman sort of Christmas, and that was fun. I was in Florida for 2 weeks. Took a bit of a chance going down, but I drove down and drove back up to avoid flying and avoid airports and airplanes and that sort of thing. Trying to take as many precautions as possible and still see my family and try to do it in a safe manner as much as possible. So it was nice seeing everyone. Jordan, previous guest of this podcast, did not make it out, did not fly out from Texas. A responsible decision to make, but we missed him for Christmas, but made the best of it. So it was a nice trip down to Florida. Saw Andrew for a bit. Saw my little nephew Graham for a few days, which was really nice. He's almost 3, so he's getting up there in age. He's getting real old. But it was fun to see family and hang out with him and that sort of thing. So beyond that, watched It's a Wonderful Life as well, which I think would have been my second viewing of all time. It brought some emotions to my heart when I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. And I watched it with my mom, and my dad watched half of it, and he fell asleep about halfway through. He had gotten up at 5 a.m. to work, so understandable. Watched Muppet's Christmas Carol, not on Christmas Day. In fact, it was the last thing I watched when I was in Florida. It was like the night before I left. I watched Muppet's Christmas Carol, and of course it was wonderful. Tried watching it with Graham.
Sorry, I just frantically waved my hands because I also watched Muppets Christmas Carol, and I totally forgot, but I watched that on Christmas Eve because I also love Muppets Christmas Carol, and my dad and I both love that, and he used to show that. My dad was a 1st and 2nd grade teacher, and he used to show Muppets Christmas Carol to his students on like the last couple afternoons before break, because like what 7-year-old is like paying attention at 1 p.m. and so he'd play that movie, and it's a great movie. So I got excited when Colton said he watched it because excellent movie, excellent soundtrack, great songs, great movie.
We watched The Voice in this household, and one of the contestants, so Gwen Stefani, I think, had the little boy, I can't remember his name, Carter. I think his name's Carter. He sang Rainbow Bridge, which is a Muppet song. Do you know this, Colton?
Connection?
Rainbow Connection. That's it. Rainbow Bridge is Thor. Or no, that's the thing Dead Dogs Go On, I guess. I don't know. I get my words mixed up. Anyways, it's the Rainbow Connection. It made me cry. That kid singing that song made me cry. What a song. Fucking Rainbow Connection.
There's so many songs about rainbows.
Keep going.
I lost it. I'm under pressure now.
What a song. I've never heard that song before.
I can't do good impressions, but my dad does have favorite lines that he likes to repeat from Muppets, mostly from Muppets Christmas Carol, but our favorite is when Scrooge is telling Bob Cratchit that he's gonna, and I, will give you a raise. And Miss Piggy comes in and says, and I will raise you right off the pavement, because she's threatening to beat up Scrooge. And it's the best. It's such a great movie. So did Graham like it? Did he pay attention? Did he like it?
He was a bit in and out, he once you put candy in his bowl, he was good. He'd sit on the couch and enjoy it. But it was fun. I think he enjoyed parts of it. And some of the movie is a little kind of spooky, to be honest. Like, I think for his age, like the Ghost of Christmas Past is like creepy looking, and the Ghost and the future is also creepy looking for a different reason. But
what's going on there in that?
This is Graham during
Exhibit A. Exhibit A is Graham during Muppets Christmas Carol, where he's going night-night under the rug in the movie room as he's being a snow angel. It's a great picture.
Very interested. He's sleeping under a rug.
So anyway, he wasn't paying attention the whole movie is probably the bottom line, but he enjoyed it enough to be in the same room and not run away the whole time. So yeah, I think he's not quite old enough to appreciate it, but one day the whole world will appreciate Muppets Christmas Carol for the masterpiece that it is, which it is. It is a masterpiece. It's so funny. I love Gonzo and Rizzo's kind of like through line. Yeah. I like when he's climbing over the fence and he's like afraid of heights. It goes back for the.
I've never seen it. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
What?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
No, I don't think
it's on
so.
Disney Plus.
The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yes, and you should watch that now, because in a way it's also... You should watch it now. It's timeless. Watch it now.
Okay.
Sarah will like it.
I'll let you know.
Anyway, yeah, it was kind of Christmas. I didn't do a lot of Christmas movies this year. I mean, maybe we'll still watch some. Anna and I still have a week's left of vacation left. We're back in Philadelphia now. We've reconvened for a week of vacation before we start our last semester of law school, and we have grand plans to watch many of things. So we'll see how it pans out. Of course,
Raised by Wolves, I can recommend.
Probably not Raised by Wolves. We probably won't put that on the list, but yes, very much so.
Weird as fuck. Mother.
He said it was worse than Game of Thrones final season.
Oh, good. Then I don't have to watch it.
So we could scratch it off the list. But yeah, so maybe come next episode, I guess I'll have many things to talk about. But Queen's Gambit is something we are planning to start up very soon. In terms of,
I would enjoy an episode on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe a bonus episode if we're gonna skip over Ghibli. Maybe you guys can watch some fucking Ghibli.
We're not gonna skip it over. We're just gonna get around to. We're gonna get around to it at some point. Let's put it that way. We're gonna get around to it. We're only a year late on delivering, so no big deal. What's another year? Or a few months anyway. This is mostly mine and Sarah's fault. Sorry. I finished my first season rewatch of Cobra Kai. I started season 2, but I'm like probably literally 15 minutes into it, and I liked what I saw, but just hard to. I honestly, I thought being home I would be able to watch a bunch of stuff and play a bunch of stuff, and like it kind of didn't happen. And like, yeah, I mean, there's one exception which I'll talk about in a minute, but like, you know, I thought I would watch tons of movies, and I really didn't. I really didn't watch a lot of movies down there, other than obviously what I've mentioned. I thought I'd play a lot of games, and I did play a lot of PlayStation 5. Like I got a little further in Spider-Man. I beat the first level in Demon's Souls and beat the boss, and like I was feeling good about myself. Started Godfall, which was a Christmas present that I got from Jordan, and it's you know, like kind of like a loot action game, and it was fun, but I need to sink my teeth into it a little bit more. I finished part 2 of The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I'm very excited. It's like I'm pretty much halfway through the book at this point, so for my reading pace, I feel like I'm flying through it, which is obviously not true from objective points. But the last thing that I want to focus on is a game that I know you've played, and Andrew's displaying the hardcover of this book. It looks very pristine. I wonder why, but
it's because I don't know fucking read. I don't know what these words are. Yeah. I can look at these pictures.
He's got some pretty pictures. Got some maps in there. There's illustrations throughout. It's very cool. But yeah, the last thing I want to talk about is something Andrew's played, and it's a little video game. It's you know, getting a lot of critical buzz. It's called Hades. And
oh man,
it is. I mean, I think I started playing it maybe a week ago. Maybe not even a week ago. And I played it for like, you know, it throws you into it, you die, you wash up in Hades' house, and I was just like, oh, okay, like that's kind of the gameplay loop of this thing, and it has taken over my life. So you know, and it was easy enough too because. You know, the PS5 was in the movie room, whereas the Switch, obviously, I can just play it wherever I want. It's handheld, I can do what I want. And man, Hades it's just such a fun gameplay loop that I love it. I there's so much detail and care kind of put into the crafting of the game, not only from the gameplay perspective, but also from the story perspective. Like, I told Anna she would appreciate it. She's giving me a skeptical, I don't know if it's a skeptical look, but it's I don't know what it is, but some sort of it's some sort of look. But anyway, like it.
If you like mythology,
it's so steeped in mythology that it's like,
the characterization.
I think
awesome.
Like lore wise, story wise, like it's like totally. It's way more her shit than it is mine, to be honest. You know, I don't think she'd enjoy the game and from the stance of like the type of game that it. You know, it's a roguelike.
The gameplay, right?
It's a game where you're designed to just die over and over and over again until you get better at the game. And like I'm not even into those sorts of games, to be fair, but like maybe I just haven't really, you know, dipped my toes into them enough or something like that, or maybe this is just doing it in a way that is really capturing me. But I think
that's a really engaging
gameplay
game
loop
for sure.
Being fun and like changing it up with the power-ups, you know, the boons you get from the different gods is just so interesting and fun. And the dialogue and the voice acting and the art, it's all just, it's incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's real good.
I don't play as many games as I probably would if I was. And
the cool thing about this game is being a, it's almost like Rocket League. Being an adult with many things going on. If I can go in and I can dive in and I can just play until I die and hang up the game, that's good. You know what I mean? You have quick engagement and you're through it and you're done and that's it. And it's fun. I like it. I like it a lot.
It is one of those things. It's a very pick up and play kind of game, and you know, like, and some of it, you know, your run might like. I mean, I had one run that was just super surprising in how well it went. Like, I got through the first 3 stages. Or
I haven't been through the first 3. I've only been to the second boss.
So I got stuck at the Bone Hydra for like 5 runs in a row, and then And then the last weapon you can unlock, it's like the gun, basically. I don't know if you got that. I think it takes 8 keys, something like that.
What is the actual... Do you know what the actual weapon is?
I don't remember what it's called.
The fists?
It's the one after the fists. So the one to the right of the fists, if you've gotten that.
I don't know. I mean,
it's basically like a gun, and then you have like a cannon is your special. Like,
oh shit!
It shoots like a arcing cannon, basically. And I got boons that powered up that cannon to be so overpowered that it carried me through just clowning on the Bone Hydra to beating the boss of the 3rd stage to get past that, and then I finally died because I'm just like, oh, I'm clearly not equipped for this. But anyway, that's the beauty of the game, is just like you just never know, and it's really fun. So anyway, I highly recommend Hades. I think it's a little bit limited. Andrew, I'm sure you've been playing it on Steam. I bought it for Switch, and I think it
from Switch, huh?
Yeah. So I think it's pretty much just on PC and Switch at this point. I don't think it's on PS4 or Xbox, but maybe at a later date. But anyway, you can play Hades. Highly recommend you do so. It is awesome. Again, haven't played a lot of games in like didn't play a lot of games, I guess I should say.
The gameplay is pretty challenging too. I mean, you gotta want to play a game like that. But
that's
if you
true.
can't,
But I mean, again, I think for someone like me that's not super disposed to that sort of thing, it really, really just hit the right. I don't know, just hit the mark for me personally. So go for it. Play Hades. That's all I have. That's all I
got.
I think that's all everyone has. So I think we can go ahead and say thank you for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. If you want to support us on Patreon to get access to future bonus episodes, maybe a Studio Ghibli one, maybe a Queen's Gambit one, who's to say? If you want early access to our regular episodes, just head to patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat. $2 a month will get you all of those goods. We have a website, watchreviewrepeat.com. Check it out. You can find links to our social media accounts there. At WRRPod is our Twitter handle. If you want to follow us there, you can search for our Facebook page just by searching for Watch Review Repeat and like our page there. And support mean old Zuckerberg and his fucking bullshit, I guess. But, whatever. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, want to let us know any Christmas movies you've been up to, maybe some hot takes on Wonder Woman 1984. Maybe you liked it. Maybe you did. I don't know. We'd like to hear why.
I'd like to hear that fucking argument, please.
Andrew would love to hear it. Intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. We will be covering Soul for our next episode. I think that is our planned next episode, so look forward to full coverage of that. Obviously, you heard Anna's thoughts on that, and you heard Andrew's preview of what's to come. No surprises there. Pixar knocks it out of the park again, but I think it'll be good to have a fuller conversation about it. And I guess we should probably thank Anna Mattis for coming on and talking about Wonder Woman 1984 and just tearing it to shreds, really. But for hanging out with us, talking about Wonder Woman, Christmas movies, Soul, anything else that kind of came up as the episode developed. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next appearance.
Thanks for having me, as always. It's fun to rip stuff apart.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes it is. So, it's 2021, Andrew. Do we stick with what do we do? What do we do for our outro now? I mean, we didn't really have a conversation about this. Are we going to Bill and Ted it through the pandemic? Maybe that's the way to go. I don't know.
No, Bill and Ted was a thing of 2020 to get us through the year. This is a new year until unfortunate circumstances drive us to Bill and Ted. I think we just take care now. Bye-bye then.
Laters on the Menge.
Fuck you, Hans Zimmer.